has the right trainer in his corner. Todd Pletcher, 5-time Arkansas Derby winning conditioner, as is Bob Baffert, a Hall of Famer, 5 wins of his own in this event. Seeking a 6 today with Litmus Test in from California. Second start is a 3-year-old. How will he respond after being defeated as the favorite in the Rebel Stakes? On this massive day of thoroughbred racing, global day of thoroughbred racing, big crowd on hand, more than 60,000 anticipated for the 90th running of the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. From the infield, welcome everyone. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. It was 11 years ago. We watched a colt by the name of American Pharaoh win this race. 3 weeks later, he would go on to capture the Kentucky Derby. 5 weeks after that, he would capture the Triple Crown, become the first horse to do so in 37 years. Now, that's not to suggest that's what we should expect from today's Arkansas Derby winner, but to point out what's possible and what horses have achieved after performing well on this stage, as I'm joined by champion jockey Richie Migliori. Richie, first off, take us inside the jocks room, and for the riders who will be competing in the Arkansas Derby, like what it means to ride in a race like this and what it means for the near future.
Well, the atmosphere is electric in the jockey's room. He is it's a day where everybody wants to put their best foot forward. The atmosphere is electric coming in here today. The crowd is huge. And, think about it. 20 horses are going to make the starting gate for the Kentucky Derby. Well, probably the 20 best riders in the country, give or take, are going to make it into the gate. So obviously we want to have a big day today, but it's always looking to the future.
Richest of all Kentucky Derby prep races in North America, $1.5 million Arkansas Derby. Here is the field, drawn last Saturday. Napoleon Solo out, 8 deep, number 6, Renegade. 3-2 morning line favorite, Arad Ortiz in the saddle. A story in itself as we revisit his last start, his 3-year-old debut, the Sam F. Davis Renegade, in a statement performance at Tampa.
Yeah, officially he was still a maiden, Lafitte. He had been disqualified when he beat Paladin in his maiden effort. And watch the way he levels off here. This is a horse that wants every bit of ground he can get. His stride got better as he went further. The last 16th was his best 16th. I love the way his legs are up underneath him, and he has a conditioner in Todd Pletcher that knows how to get horses ready to run elongated distances.
Renegade, trained by Todd Pletcher, seeking a 6th win in this Arkansas Derby. Of course, his first Derby he won, the Kentucky Derby, was with a horse who was defeated in this race, Super Saver, back in 2010. As we welcome in Maggie Wolfendale to the broadcast, standing by at Todd Pletcher's stable here at Oaklawn with Renegade.
Lafitte, I'm here with Renegade, this year's Sam F. Davis winner, as he's looking to punch his first-class ticket to this year's Kentucky Derby here in Arkansas. But there's a big difference in this guy from 2 to 3. I saw him for his debut up in Saratoga, in which he acted up pretty badly in the paddock. We also saw him disqualified in his second start at Aqueduct for, well, misbehaving through the lane. I swear, he was being really nice before this. Now he's really awake and ready for today's Arkansas Derby. But with that polished, maiden-breaking score in the Sam F. Davis, this is a guy who's really putting the finishing touches on becoming that true elite athlete. And I think he takes another step up in this year's edition of the Arkansas Derby.
Maggie there with Renegade, Arkansas Derby favorite. Really get the sense he's coming into his own, as she mentioned, just the right time.
Yeah, it feels like that. And you know what I like? When you have those stall shots, there's a clarity in a good horse's eye. There's an intelligence to it. And the way he looked right there, he was almost like listening to Maggie, very aware of his surroundings. Good horses are not only physically talented, they're mentally smart. They just have the capacity to be top horses.
That's Renegade, and then you have the local horses in the series here, the Road to Louisville from Hot Springs, and most recent, the Rebel Stakes about a month ago. We pick up the action at the top of the stretch. Litmus Test in front. Blackout Time is right there. Silent Tactic finding his best stride and about to hook Class President Johnny V as these two slug it out to the wire.
Yeah, Class President was ultra game, would not let Silent Tactic get by. Well, he actually did get by about a head, but Johnny Velasquez, a rider that's tough to get by. But I also think that Silent Tactic might have got involved just a little bit earlier than would be efficient for him. You know, you think about his Southwest Stakes, he made up 5 or 6 lengths from the quarter pole of the wire. By the quarter pole in the Rebel, he was a length off the lead. And I think that Christian Torres had a decision to make. There was a moment where there was room on the inside. He could kind of go forward. That hole is not going to stay open forever. So I think he kind of had to move, and it made it a long, sustained kind of rally, and I think that's why he flattened out just a touch late.
So are you convinced that the added distance from 1 1/16 to 1 1/8 that'll suit him?
No, I do, actually. I don't think it's a matter of distance. I think it's about how you meet out his speed, right, or how his run. You don't want to get involved too early. He's a horse that's got one bold finish. Don't make it a 3/8 of a mile run. Make it a 1/4 of a mile run.
Now, the subplot of this Arkansas Derby, as we mentioned, these Titan trainers and the success they've had on this particular stage. Todd Pletcher, Bob Baffert, a combined 10 wins in the Arkansas Derby. There you see it. Pletcher from Magna Moon to Graham Hall way back in 2000. Bob Baffert from Bodemeister, runner-up in the Kentucky Derby, most recent with Muth in 2024, who will emerge as the all-time leading Arkansas Derby winning trainer. One of those two, or perhaps another trainer, will wind up in the winner's circle. As we say hello to Megan Burgess.
Well, litmus test right behind me down the shed row, and he did not ship back to California after that well-back third-place finish in the Rebel last time out. He's remained right here at Oaklawn, and in today's Arkansas Derby, he will make a key equipment change. The blinkers will come off, and Bob Baffert has noted he never really wore a substantial blinker, but they're hoping that he can settle a little bit behind the speeds to his inside, as that's the exact tactic that he did in both of his career victories. But he's been training really well. He's responded to being in one place right here at Oaklawn, and he has trained well without those blinkers. All signs a go, and litmus test will take just that later today in a place all too familiar for his connections.
Litmus test, Richie, and you're... Why is it that you're a little bit reserved about how much improvement we'll see from him today versus what we saw from Litmus Test in the Rebel?
There are trainers that race their horses into condition. You know, they have them prepared to run well, but they're not honed to a fine edge. It's not the case with Bob Baffert. Bob Baffert gets his horses prepared. Every time they step on the racetrack, they're 100% fit. Now, maybe the blinkers off will get him to settle more, and you'll see a better version of himself, but I don't think he's going to take a step forward from that physical fitness standpoint.
Looking forward to this Grade 1 Arkansas Derby tonight around 7:48 Eastern. You'll see it live on Fox Sports 1. A loaded program leading up to the main event on this Saturday afternoon. Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. Settle in. We'll be here all afternoon. Arkansas Derby, as mentioned, race 13, the second, just moments away. Plus first of 9 from Aqueduct in about 15 minutes. And that cross-country pick 5 begins in race 8 from the Big A. Haven't signed up just yet? Now would be a great time to do so. NYRABets.com. Get involved, and when you do so, you're going to use that promo code MATCH200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world. Start winning today. Join now, NYRABets.com. Race 2 coming up next, Oaklawn Park. We have reached post time. Take a look at the field corresponding odds. And Richie, these Arkansas-bred maidens, all for sale, all winless, 6 furlong dash, and the current favorite towards the outside at 2-1. You have a name for me?
Mr. Fahrenheit, who
Thanks,
is turning back in distance. He ran 1 1/16 last time. Obviously wanted no part of that, Lafitte. He drops in half, basically. He ran for 50,000 last time. He's in for 25. I prefer someone else, but he makes a lot of sense.
Who's the someone else?
Turn back. I like the 6-horse, Polar Wolf, at 8-1. He was defeated by who is now clicked down to your favorite, the 4, Give Me a Chance, the last time they met. But if you go back and look at the trips, Polar Wolf was a better horse than Give Me a Chance that day. Give Me a Chance is 2-1. He's 8-1. Polar Wolf ran into traffic. He was stuck in rush hour traffic, no place to go, and was only beaten a length by Give Me a Chance. Now let's throw in the fact that Shortleaf Stable, John Ed Anthony, one of the leading owners at Oaklawn for decades, it just seems appropriate that he should win a race on this Arkansas Derby card.
The only owner who has owned a winner of every one of Oaklawn's 3-year-old prep races, John Ed Anthony. Give Me a Chance, though, the favorite at 2-1. Pretty good start to the day for one Steve Asmussen overseas, and we'll see how it goes for him here at Oaklawn. He has Give Me a Chance, owns and trains son Keith in the saddle. Post-time race to Oaklawn. Matt Ditterman standing by.
Spot. King Neek going into the gate. Denali Lightning, post 10, next forward. They're working with Jones Boogie to go into the starting gate. Post position 3. The Statebreds get their turn here in race number 2, a maiden claimer. Still working with Jones Boogie, who's almost in the gate. Jones Boogie in. Give me a chance, post position number 4. 2 back, free of frost. And to the outside post, Mr. Fahrenheit. We're ready to go. And Larough. Bernardi gets away well and then unseated the rider. He just ducked in there. Did Bernardi, unseating jockey Danilo Grisales Rave, who's down on the course. So they head down the backstretch. A loose horse inside of horses here. Denali Lightning's got the lead with King Neek, the first-time starter. Here's that riderless horse moving forward in front of the field here. Mr. Fahrenheit, 3.5 lengths off the pace with Give Me a Chance. Flat Out Blessed right behind him. Perfectly Harvey next in the group. Viney moving alongside of him. Jones Boogie, third last. Free of Frost. Polar Wolf share the back spot as they round the far turn here. On the lead, King Neek at 12-1, 3 parts of a length ahead. Denali Lightning right up alongside now as I say that. Denali Lightning gets a breather, comes on and grabs the lead from King Neek. Mr. Fahrenheit into third, sent upon 3 wide, coming off the turn. Flat Out Blessed is trying to lug out off the turn in fourth with Give Me a Chance. They're down the lane. Denali Lightning with the lead. Mr. Fahrenheit trying to reel him in. Denali Lightning 39-1, still in the lead. Mr. Fahrenheit second. Give Me a Chance is third, trying to close in here with a 16 to go. Denali Lightning, Alexander Castillo clear coming to the finish. Denali Lightning in a surprise in race 2. Give Me a Chance just edges out Mr. Fahrenheit. Polar Wolf was fourth, and there will be a steward's inquiry into the running of this race involving number 2 Bernardi, who unseated the rider coming out of the chute.
The upset, Denali Lightning in the second race, Oaklawn Park, but the concern over fallen rider, Danilo Grisales, unseated shortly after the start of the race.
Didn't see exactly what happened, Lafitte. It looked like the horse might have taken a kind of a duck step in and unseated his rider. But the winner, Denali Lightning, has always flashed speed. Today, he just forgot to stop. He just kept on going at 39-1.
Big upset here. Never hit the board in 7 previous starts. Brings it in front of this big crowd at Oaklawn Park. 39-1 upset. We can report Danilo Grisales is up. Live shot there. Danilo Grisales, and you could tell, Richie, just how hard he hit the ground after being unseated, and just great to see him there. Their own power shortly after the spill.
Yeah, from our set here in the infield, I could peek out and I saw him getting up, and that's just great news because he did hit the ground very hard and a bit awkwardly, kind of went end over end. When riders fall, if they can ball up, get tight, kind of tuck themselves in, you roll better. He didn't look like he had that opportunity. It happened so fast.
So an update, any news we have regarding Danilo Grisales, we will pass along. Up, walking after that ugly fall shortly after the start of this second race. 10-4-11, 39-1 upset in this second race at Oaklawn Park as we are just getting started on this Arkansas Derby Saturday. You'll have a chance to meet the breeders and co-owners of the favorite in Renegade, Robert and Luana Lowe. Their story next. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Great to have you with us. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 is always brought to you in part by Naira Bets. Betting track anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com. Still managed to get here just in time for the show, Richie, despite this long trek from our hotel room, down the elevator, food court, through the casino, out the back door, doors part, and voila. You're in the Oaklawn paddock.
It's a great commute, isn't it? And I love when those elevator doors open, kind of reminiscent of breaking from the starting gate.
Hotel here at Oaklawn Park on this picture-perfect Saturday afternoon, off and running Arkansas Derby Saturday. Just saw a major upset, 81-40 in the end. This guy had never hit the board in 7 previous. Denali Lightning figured something out today. By Golden Sense, 2-time Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, 81-40. That'll get it done. Give me a chance, Mr. Fahrenheit, 10-4-11 in race number 2.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise here, but this horse has always flashed speed, except
well, it's fairly clear that the gods conspired to get you and I on the show a couple of minutes early here. By the way, he's Jonathan Kinchin. I'm Andy Serling, and welcome to Aqueduct. They shut down Richie's mic so that you and I could come on.
Yeah,
I had nothing to do with it. You, on the other hand, I saw you toying with something over there. Possible something was going on. How you doing?
I'm good.
Saw the game last night? You were at the Duke game last night?
I was there, and
St.
TSA pre-check was great this morning in Washington,
Really?
D.C.
Okay, I'm glad. Otherwise, I'd be sitting here by myself. We got the first race coming up. We've got 9 here, of course, and obviously the big day down at Arkansas. But you will see a little bit of us up here. And field of 5, couple horses vying for favoritism, starting with the number 1 horse, Irresistible, who went by.
Yeah, it's had a few starts. Run okay. I'm not cutting in line to bet him at 8-5.
Collective Bargain, 1 of 2 for Chad Brown. This one a firster.
This is my favorite. The other Chad Brown. The conspiracy theorists are out.
A Maxfield, a new sire, got Turf Stallion. Alma's Law finished behind Irresistible.
Yeah, just has no early speed. Seems like they're trying to figure some things out with all those maiden claiming starts.
Favorite point of reference, Chad and Manny?
Yeah, sure. I wish the horse took a little bit more money first time out.
I like this horse a lot today, but I am scared of the 5 Moonlit, who I knew you like, a firster from Miguel Clement.
Yeah, just this, the pedigree makes me feel warm and fuzzy a little bit with a talented mare, and you're just hoping the outside draw and a nice clean break.
The horses that Miguel Clement has shipped up from Florida at this meet have really run well. In fact, been winning a lot. A number of them have done very, very well. I think that makes them dangerous. The dam herself was actually pretty good as well. As far as point of reference, the favorite, it's a little tough, as you know, to watch races at Gulfstream and the breaks. You don't get clean shots. But this horse seems to have broken at least 3/4 slow, was kind of cut off at the start. And this was one I happened to have asked Chad Brown about, and he said he thought the horse probably needed a start. It's turned out to be a pretty live race. The horse was down towards the inside. I think he's going to run a lot, or she is going to run a lot better today.
Yeah, I mean, having a little bit more context to it. My biggest issue, obviously, I think we both look at the amount of money horses take first time out. I think it's a very good indicator of what the expectation is. It doesn't mean that the horse has to be good. But when you have a Chad Brown first-time starter that doesn't take a lot of money early in the first start, there's obviously not a high expectation. And then I just, they carry that tag until they prove me different.
The one thing I'd say is at Gulfstream, we don't see Chad running as many of his, like even, Bricks and Mortar, believe it or not, paid 7-1 in his debut at Gulfstream. And I will tell you, Chad loved him. So it's not like, they sometimes don't get away. And I wonder a little bit, especially nowadays, there's become an expectation. It seems like he runs the better ones, even on the dirt at Tampa.
Yeah, of course. I think Chad, as a whole, is more comfortable running horses on the grass and the dirt at Tampa.
Yeah. So, I think he's going to run well. The other thing is Irresistible. I don't love the field he comes out of. I think if point of reference can move forward, and I think that she's likely to do it, she's going to beat Irresistible. I am much more worried about the horse that you like, Moonlit, and it doesn't even bother me that she's not taking that much money.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Irresistible. I guess that you touched on. I just wanted the horse to run a little bit better last time, getting Lasix for the first time, and being bet down to
that was her day to win.
Yeah.
Last time was her day to win. I have a feeling with the 4 and 5 in here, this is a tougher field. We'll see what happens. We do kick off the action. It's a little chilly today, but it's a beautiful day here in South Ozone Park at Aqueduct. Horses are in the gate for race number 1. Chris Griffin has the first of 9 at the Big A.
Here's Moonlit. All set. And they're off at Aqueduct. Breaking outward and a step slow was Moonlit. From in between horses, there's Alma's Law. Pressure to the outside from point of reference is going to be a close-up second. Now challenge to the inside. Here comes Collective Bargain to make it 3 of them on the front end. Just behind them is the trailing duo of Irresistible and Moonlit. Tightly packed, though, as they come out of the chute and hook over the backstretch. Collective Bargain has the lead, is up by a neck. In between horses, right there is Alma's Law and Dalila Rivera. Point of reference and Manny Franco 3 wide. Irresistible and Michael Sanchez drafting right in behind this leading trio who went 24.30 for the opening quarter mile. The trailer continues to be Moonlit. They work up the backstretch here in the opener. Collective Bargain is in front and Collective Bargain. Jose Lescano trying to hold the advantage. Is now riding Collective Bargain here, only a head advantage. Alma's Law in between horses. Point of reference waits for the cue and now gets it. And here comes Point of Reference just gliding by. Point of Reference now with a head in front. Collective Bargain isn't going away. Alma's Law starts to lose some ground. All in Moonlit towards the outside. Irresistible's under a hand ride, nowhere to go, is bottled up in behind horses as they reach the top of the stretch. Irresistible's going to switch to the outside. Point of Reference gets the jump. It's Point of Reference who's up by 2.5, almost 3. Irresistible starts to motor down the center of the racetrack, though, and here comes Irresistible after Point of Reference down to these 2. It's Point of Reference to the inside, approaching the final 16th. Irresistible's trying to make up the ground, but can't. Point of Reference wins the opener. Point of Reference, Irresistible, then came Moonlit and Alma's Law in 1 minute 39.05 seconds.
It's amazing, Jonathan, what a difference a race can make because you saw just a much more professional horse in Point of Reference today.
Well, I think, you give a good trainer a horse, and sometimes they have to figure some things out. They got to work through some things. I would imagine that based on what Chad did leading up to the February 8th race, he probably made some changes, made some adjustments, learned more about the horse, got some feedback from Tyler when he got off, got some feedback from his riders in the morning, and that's what makes good trainers good, is they can adjust in situations like this, and he definitely made some adjustments. This horse ran much better.
Just a classic example of a firster who didn't really break very well first time. Some of it his own fault or her own fault, some of another horse's, but just so much more professional today. And the one ran a decent race, Irresistible, made a little bit of a run, but at the end of the day, Point of Reference with leading rider Manny Franco able to keep them at bay as Point of Reference gets it done for Chad Brown. Harvard Stables, Irresistible second. I thought Moonlit was making a real run around the turn and just flattened out. Maybe the board was right with that horse.
Yeah, what's funny about Moonlit could be the next Point of Reference in terms of he learned something this time, and maybe the next time he'll kind of get it together.
Yeah, there's enough pedigree to suggest this horse could run better. We'll see what happens. So much more to come on today's show, today's marathon show. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
$1,600,000, thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
And here's Tama in the final stages. The Santa Anita Derby goes to Tama. It's Tama, absolutely terrific, winning Malibu by 4 widening lengths.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, and while we're here at the Big A, we're not long before Saratoga, both the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival just over 2 months away, and of course just a few short weeks after that, an extended 46-day, 10-week meet in Saratoga. The last time we'll have this longer meet before we get back to Belmont, but much more information at belmontstakes.com for tickets and all sorts of stuff linked to the final Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. And also want to mention that we've announced this week that purses for both the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival as well as the Saratoga Race Meet have gone up about 14% across the board, from $100,000 to $115,000 the maiden specials. Those auction races are now $90,000, the first level allowance, $120,000, $125,000 for second level. State bred races, great purses, great racing, great atmosphere. The only thing you got to do is occasionally run into jerks like me and Jonathan. Otherwise, it's a fun day.
You know, I love that, that the purses are going up at Saratoga. I mean, I would imagine that Saratoga maiden races are probably some of the hardest in the world. And the fact that you have a horse that you can point to a spot like that and take some money off the table, these horses are expensive. And I really like the auction races too.
I
right?
agree.
Where you're encouraging people to buy some cheaper horses, which helps the ecosystem as a whole. And you win one of those races, you're out. You're on your way up.
You win one of those races, you might win the Champagne like Napoleon Solo did. So it's not like those are bad horses. But yeah, you're not competing against the horses that are costing $1 million in those races. And it gives you a chance to win a race in Saratoga without spending that much money. I love that idea. They're running them in a lot of tracks, and I think it's a great idea. As point of reference, who cost $260,000, a lot of money for an upstart. And I loved Upstart. You know, he's had some success. I always loved Upstart, but it always makes me happy to see him get a winner. And it makes me think of the late, great Rick Violet as well.
It's one of the best parts about this game is it's the gift that keeps on giving. You can fall in love with a horse and you can see their offspring run in races moving forward. And it just reminds you a little bit. Every time they cross the wire, you think about that one moment, that one time that a horse did really well, whether it was for a good score or just for a fun day at the track.
I agree. And sometimes you get into pedigrees, you find a second dam with some horse that you really liked, or you know, sometimes I'll text Richie and say, hey, the second dam of this horse running was a horse you want to stake on or something. So it is fun to look up. Point of reference gets it done. $426 to win, 4-1 exacta, just under $5 for $1 as we head back to Lafitte, who has a new desk mate in Meg Burgess.
That's right, Megan Burgess on set as we get ready for this third race coming up here at Oaklawn Park. You'll hear that call to post. These Arkansas-bred maidens, sprinters, fillies, and mares. And we check in with Maggie Wolfendale with this race 3. Paddock Report.
Thanks, Lafitte. As horses are making their way to the track, riders up here in the paddock. Let's begin, though, with the first-time starter taking all the money, shipping in from South Florida for trainer George Weaver, a daughter of who other than Vekoma, who George Weaver himself trained to Grade 1 victories. Looking at Vekoma's diva in here, she just looks like a different class, to be quite honest. She's incredibly athletic, looks very reminiscent of her sire. She's athletic, she's well balanced, she's well muscled, and since she's been wintering in South Florida, it does show. I mean, she looks resplendent in her coat, and she's been a true professional, shipping in to what can be an overwhelming paddock on an overwhelming day. That is Arkansas Derby Day. Moving on to number 7, Rebecca Joe for Tammy Hornsby is taking some money and is owned and bred by my late friend Toby Sheets' dad, Ronnie Sheets in here. So homebred, a daughter of Rock Your World, bigger type. Now, there isn't much pedigree on the bottom side to report home on. In fact, the dam took 13 tries to break her maiden. But I do appreciate the size and scope that this filly does bring to the table. Looks pretty fit heading in here too. Probably will need a start to strengthen up. Lafitte?
Jumping off point, first day on the job, the big filly, Rebecca Joe. Post-parade, let's meet these Arkansas breds. You're looking at Stevie Kicks, solid second at a big price in her latest.
Found she could be favored in here off that last performance.
Bolivia, a forgettable debut back in February of last year.
Now comes off of the layoff, hoping to redeem and get a better experience this time around.
Peaceful Dreams, first of the debuting runners. Number 4, Trump's Diamonds, the Cosmo Stable first-time starter.
Was entered and scratched earlier in the meet, but has a foundation of works, though, a barn that typically needs their starts as a first-time starter.
Number 5, Runaway Roxy, Lower Hay Farms, first-time starter.
Actually admired the gate work back on March the 8th, showed some speed.
Favorite, Vacoma's Diva.
As you mentioned in Maggie's report, nice to see some positive comments as she's been down in Florida prepping for this, an Arkansas bred for the Weavers.
Big filly, Rebecca Joe.
She actually worked great as well from the gate. Didn't wear any equipment, traveled well in the bridle. I've liked what I've seen from her.
Long shot, Roots Tootin'.
Maiden claimer to Maiden special, but at least bodes some experience.
Secret Slew, 3-year-old debut.
This horse ran against the likes of She's So Cool that have to haul and ice. We'll see if she can get back to some of her better efforts, especially the 1-2 back.
Holland Ice, yesterday's matron winner for the second time. Then Grey Rock Lady, Chris Duncan's first-time starter.
Younger trainer, not a whole lot of pedigree, but a small sample size of those first-time starters. Lane Johnston is 2 for 9 in the money, which I thought was pretty interesting up there at 28-1.
Who's ready to graduate? These Arkansas-bred fillies and mares in front of this big crowd, more than 60,000 plus expected. Arkansas Derby Saturday. We'll be right back with the third live on FS2. Gorgeous early spring afternoon in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Welcome back. Arkansas Derby Saturday from Oaklawn Park. Up next, the third Arkansas Red Maiden sprinting 6 furlongs, fillies and mares. We just saw an $82 winner, Maggie, in race number 2. And looking at a long shot here, Peaceful Dreams 25-1. What do you like what you're seeing?
Lafitte, as we well know, in these Arkansas bred races, chaos reigns supreme, and I do like what I'm seeing from Peaceful Dreams, and I have no problems with your first and second choice. I really think the 6 and 1 are the 2 horses to beat here, but why not swing for the fences for the first race I'm covering on the show? Peaceful Dreams is a daughter of Gentleman's Bet. They are best in dirt sprints, and while it's an unraced dam, the full sister did win in her second start and was a 2-time sprint winner. There have been some other winners 3 other winners from 4 to Run. The second dam, she was a Louisiana-bred stakes winner. It was funny. I was talking with Eric Asmussen to congratulate him on Magnitude and talk about Taptastic a little bit later on in the Arkansas Derby, and we both snapped our heads around to look at this filly. He said, wow, I really love what I'm seeing from the filly I'm riding here. And that trainer Terry Eoff said that he thinks she can run a bit. And I would have to agree, at least looking at her. She looks like a ball of muscle, out and out sprinter. She's been aggressive throughout all the prelims here. She has that really nice elevated and developed hind end to her. She just looks quick. So if she can leave there running, maybe she could take these on a merry chase and upset yet again here as she is sitting currently at that 25-1. But also experience speaks a lot when we're talking about these maiden races, as Stevie Kicks, she'll make her 3rd start here. Now, last time she was wired by a big long shot in 49-1. She's my last call. But this horse was the only one to make up ground throughout the running of that race. After breaking a touch slow, she kind of moved up willingly between horses around the turn, and she was steadily gaining on those front runners and eventually, galloped out nicely in front of the field. She does strike me as one that could potentially need a bit more ground to do her best running, but she comes in here fit. She's fine-tuned for this 3rd start, and I do think that last race speaks to her heading in the right direction, Lafitte.
Stevie Kicks, and this is what Maggie was talking about, that second career start, March 1st, right here, and outrunning her odds 24-1 and just starting to find her momentum at the top of the stretch here, Megan.
Boy, did she. I was on hand for this race and in the paddock, and I'd agree with Maggie as far as potentially wanting some more distance, but she really traveled well in the bridle, as Maggie had alluded to, was making up ground steadily, and then she was wide, cruising on, trying to rally up to catch that big long shot up front, but she had a nice step forward from that debut. I think she's one that's also, when I saw her last on March 1st, had taken a step forward from when I initially saw her first time out on February the 8th for the Shea Stewart barn. So I think the experience is going to be key, as she bodes a buyer's speed figure, that 55 that trumps anyone in this group with that experience.
Has that in her favor. Improving. Stevie Kicks, we were looking at the favorite moments ago. Who you're going with live on the board, Randy Hills, Vacoma's Diva now 4-5.
I'm not going against your favorite in this spot, and it's, as I mentioned, really encouraging to hear Maggie's positive physical comments, as I haven't been able to see her breezes down in Florida as they haven't been available, but she is a specialty Archie bred. She is the only horse sent here for George Weaver in the past 5 years, other than 5G and the Honeybee. So it's very encouraging, obviously, her ARC bred status, and I think that she is going to be ready to roll off of an encouraging steady tab of workouts.
At the gate, race number 3, Arkansas Derby Saturday. Arkansas Red Maidens here. Final check of the tote board reading 4-5. Vacoma's Diva. Odds on it. Post time. Here's Matt Dinnerman.
Secret Slew about to walk in. Still working with Bolivia to post position number 2. Backs away from the gate, Bolivia. Bolivia coming back up to the gate without the jockey, Israel Hernandez, and she went in immediately with that change. Now Israel Hernandez going to hop back aboard here. Peaceful Dreams in the red jacket. Trump's Diamonds in the pink. Two back. Runaway Roxy for the Matt Shire Barn, and then Grey Rock Lady for Lane Johnston rounds out the field. The number of first-time starters in this race, those two are indeed two of them. Grey Rock Lady outside post. The rider's still off Bolivia, who's going to hop back aboard here very shortly. Rider's still off Bolivia. They're going to back away Bolivia from post position number 2. She was getting a little bit stirred up in there once again, Bolivia. Bolivia about to reload, it appears now, without the jockey, Israel Hernandez. Even money for number 6, Vacoma's Diva, shipping in as a first-time starter in Arkansas bred, training in Florida with trainer George Weaver. Bolivia goes back in the gate here. Israel Hernandez getting back in the saddle. We're ready to go. And we're off. Stevie Kick stumbled just a little bit coming out of the gate, but is recovering, sitting in midfield in the early stages. There goes Vacoma's Diva to the lead here. Runaway Roxy right behind in the second position. Then comes Rebecca Joe. She's into the third position, clearly in that spot now. Secret Slew alongside. There's a gap of 1.5 lengths to Roots Tootin' and Stevie Kicks, who's making up some ground. Trump's Diamond shuffled back to race in midfield with Grey Rock Lady, Bolivia, and Peaceful Dreams at the tail as they go into the fourth turn. Vacoma's Diva into the turn, 3/4 of a length ahead. Rebecca Joe in chase mode, clearly into second, rounding the turn. Stevie Kicks is third now, continuing to gain ground 3 deep. Length back to Secret Slew under pressure. Runaway Roxy going in the wrong direction. Roots Tootin' within 4 lengths of the lead, hitting the quarter pole. Vacoma's Diva still on the lead. Rebecca Joe now shaken up in second with Stevie Kicks, who's alongside, coming off the turn. Vacoma's Diva down the lane. Stevie Kicks on the outside continues to gain ground. Stevie Kicks, Vacoma's Diva side by side. Vacoma's Diva got an answer when Stevie Kicks came up alongside. Vacoma's Diva turning away Stevie Kicks in the final 16th, and Vacoma's Diva finishes up. First-time starter here, looking strong on debut. Stevie Kicks second, Secret Slew third, Rebecca Joe fourth in the third race.
Heavily backed, performs accordingly. Randy Hills, Vacoma's Diva strikes in her debut. Even money for George Weaver. Louis Saez, the winning pilot.
Powerful performance here for this first-time starter. Her damn first dudette. Never finished off the board sprinting on the dirt except for the Grade 1 Santa Anita Oaks. So it just seemed, as Mackie had mentioned, to be a class above physically, and she really put it all together, just getting to the front, never looking back, Lafitte.
All Vacoma's Diva. Well clear of Stevie's Kicks. Well clear of the rest. Results forthcoming, race 3, Oaklawn Park. In the meantime, wanted to revisit what else? Grade 1 Arkansas Derby. It is the America's Best Racing's race of the week. Take a look at the field. These upstart 3-year-olds in the most lucrative Kentucky Derby prep race in North America. $1.5 million. Napoleon Solo is out 8 strong. And Renegade 3-2 morning line favorite. Our crew barnstorming once again, so you can meet the field in post position order, starting with Redland Rebels. Quick has the rail, solid fourth in the Tampa Bay Derby.
I think this horse has an opportunity to collect some points as he could get comfortable on the front end, particularly with the scratch of Napoleon Solo, and took a step forward on the dirt last time out after some turf tries.
Silent Tactic dances every dance. Southwest winner, narrow defeat in the Rebel.
As you mentioned, every single prep series here at Oaklawn he's taken part of. Can he get there? I'd imagine perhaps a little bit more patient of a ride in today's Arkansas Derby.
50 points so far, tied for 8th with 6 others in Blackout Time. Second to a champion last fall, Ted Nafi. One race since his comeback, 4th in the Rebel.
He's going to be better for it. I've been talking with Robbie Alvarado, who's gotten on him in the mornings, and he's been encouraged by what he's seen progressing out of that Rebel.
Team Mystic Dan intact, then Bricklin third in the Sunland Derby to Pavlovian. That form looks a lot better now, doesn't it?
Form flattered, and when you go through the trips, he probably didn't have the best one in there. I think he's going to have a forward trip in store for him sitting just off of things.
Captastic. 1 start, 1 win. Here he is. Going to be a massive day for the Asmussens.
Really could be with the horse Magnitude winning the Dubai World Cup. This horse has a feat, but in Steve Asmussen, I trust. A very well-bred Stone Street and Winchell campaigned.
Renegade, great name by Into Mischief. Arkansas Derby favorite.
He is going to be tough. I find he's going to take yet another step forward as he was up against it last time out, winning the Sam F. Davis.
Exosum, blinkers on in his latest. He was more tactical, a solid win, but still a tall order.
He is a hunk of a horse. Absolutely gorgeous. He has to get a lot faster, but man, does he impress me physically.
Second start in a stakes race, finished 6th in the LeCompte at Fairgrounds in January, then Litmus Test defeated Rebel Favorite. He was on the lead that day, faded, perhaps different strategy employed this afternoon.
This is the time, Lafitte, to pounce on this horse. He's going to be at a reasonable price considering I think Silent Tactic and Renegade's going to be really bet upon. I believe the blinkers off could really help this horse be able to settle and rate a little bit more, which is what he did when he won both of his 2 victories. So don't count Litmus Test out. Do not count Bob Baffert out in the Arkansas Derby.
90th running of the Arkansas Derby on FS1. Post time around 7:48 Eastern as we send you back to Aqueduct Race 2. Andy Serling, Jonathan Kinchin.
Thanks a lot, guys. I just want to thank Meg to let me know not to leave Bob Baffert out in the Arkansas Derby. Thank you, Meg, for that information. You just never know when those nuggets are going to come. I think Jonathan and I are in the same horse in here as the one big blue line went by going out for Fernando Abreu. There's the current fairly heavy favorite. Crushed it for Mike Maker and Manny.
Yeah, certainly. I'm not going to try to get beat by this horse in any multi-race wagers, but I think there's other value elsewhere.
Eliminate, looking to find that old form for Kendrick and Joe Sharp.
Yeah, it was wide all the way last time, but I didn't think he did much running.
Speaking of old form, 3 Technique was once in the Derby Trail, went by. This is the one we like. That's the 5 Brigadier General, second off a long layoff.
Yep, I think the second off the long layoff is the key. Went entirely too fast early for a horse first off a layoff.
Can Unlimited Potential wire the field here for Ilke Cantermachi?
Was that a question? No.
Yeah, well, he can wire the field. Will he wire the field is the better question. We both like Brigadier General. I'd like to think would be sitting second to Unlimited Potential.
You know, I think, I'm not preaching to you about this because I know you know, but looking at like Timeform US and seeing pace figures tells a story. This horse ran pretty quick early last time off of a long break and probably wasn't very efficient in the running of that race, in which why I feel now, with that race under his belt, I do feel like he'll run a little bit better in
Isn't it exactly the kind of race, if you're his trainer, that you wanted him to get? And he's a generous price. He's the clear second choice in doubles and a generous 4-1 right now. It feels like that's the race you wanted, because I think he would have liked to have won, but he probably knew he wasn't going to. And Donegal Surges, I mean, he's borderline stakes quality at this point. He ran very well in that race.
Absolutely. I mean, I guess if I want to poke a hole in our pick, is that I think one of the things that gives us comfort is a race that happened in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It
was a long time ago.
Is that a findable race? But at 4-1, I don't necessarily have a problem paying to find out. At a short price, he'd be a silly.
Well, he ran a 75 buyer. Unlimited Potential ran an 82 buyer. Unlimited Potential has been running consistently. He hadn't run in a year, in 22 months. And if you mentioned Timeform US, if you like those figures, if you're interested in those figures, his figure was 109 coming out of the last race. Unlimited Potential got 112. So they ran very similar races, which isn't bad for a horse coming off that long layoff. But let's talk about Crushed It a little bit, the 2, who is the favorite. I don't have any problem with him. He did run very well in his last start in a tough spot and has not been on a dry track for a long time. And his best recent race was his last dry track race.
Yeah, and another thing I like about him is I like horses that run for every barn they're in. It says a lot about the horse, I think. It's not just like some, this trainer figured this one out. Crushed It has had nice races for a multitude of trainers. Look, like I said, if this was a game in which odds don't matter and you're just picking winners, I would probably pick the 2. But since it is a gambling game and there is odds involved, the 5 seems like a much better option to me.
Yeah, and everything's relevant like that. You look at the tournament. If you're just trying to pick winners, now obviously brackets can be difficult and do those things. There's a big difference, though, between picking winners and finding teams that cover the spread. And that's the thing. When you're betting on races, you're just trying to be smarter than the other people betting. And that means you're going to bet horses that you don't necessarily think are the likeliest winners. But your hope is that their chances of winning are better than their odds on the board. And I think 7-2 right now on the number 5 Brigadier General is a generous price on this horse. We'll see what happens. Big Blue Line is going in for Fernando Abreu. And I don't think he's impossible, but the 2, 5, and 6, as the public suggests, are the right 3. Are you surprised how much money the 3 is taking?
Yes.
I guess choice, his form just seems to have left him, mostly since he left the Todd Pletcher barn. Let's head up to Chris Griffin for the call of the second.
Unlimited Potential. Last to load. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Off a step slow was 3 Technique, the early trailer. Speed to the outside from Unlimited Potential. And Brigadier General, they're going to be a quick 1-2 just off of them, has crushed it in third. At the rail, Big Blue Line. Looks content in that spot. It's going to move towards the outside for some clear running room as they are very far apart. And they come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch. Unlimited Potential. Free running is in front, is up by 2. Here to the outside is Brigadier General. Moves in closer, 23.48 for that opening quarter mile. At the rail, it's Crushed It. Ground-saving journey there is in between horses. Hard to handle is Big Blue Line. Is keen there for Ruben Silvera and wants to move up. Is in fourth, now 4 lengths in front of 3 Technique and the trailer. Eliminate. They work up the backstretch, approaching a half-mile left to go, and Unlimited Potential. No turning back, has been front-running. Unlimited Potential is now confronted to the inside by Crushed It. Crushed It is ready to challenge for Manny Franco and puts ahead in front. Unlimited Potential's trying to fight back towards the outside. Brigadier General is under a hard ride here from third, not making up the ground, 46.43 for the half-mile time. Still trying to make up ground is Big Blue Line. Down towards the inside from the back, Eliminate, and the trailer is 3 Technique. The leader is Crushed It, and Crushed It starts to get away. Crushed It hugs that rail and has now put distance on Unlimited Potential, who's a clear second, trying to rally on his Brigadier General down the center of the racetrack. Eliminate from far, far out of it. It's making up some late ground, but with a 16th left to go, Crushed It is going to win easily. It's all Crushed It to dominate. Up for second, there was Eliminate. Then came Unlimited Potential and Big Blue Line in 1 minute 36.49 seconds.
Well, Crushed It lived up to his name. He absolutely crushed this field, and you could see, Jonathan, when our horse was coming up empty on the turn, that Crushed It was going to have a very easy time with the second race.
I mean, we talk about it often. It's one of those situations where I don't regret the play. It's one of those situations where when you play horse against horses like this and on horses like the one we played, you're going to have these results occasionally. But you just have to have the other result a couple of times to pay for the ones that you're wrong.
Contrary to bad opinions on social media, all winning bets weren't good bets and all losing bets weren't bad bets. I think it's important as a horse player to go back and ask yourself, if I had to do over again, did I make some mistake? I think we've all bet horses like the 5 Brigadier General and cashed. We're also going to bet a lot more of them that don't win, but that doesn't necessarily mean it was the wrong idea. Whatever the case was, Crushed It gave Manny Franco a sweep of the early double. Much more action to come on America's Day at the Races. We'll be back after a quick break.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
10-25, 10-25, at 25-35, 335,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
And then at 410,000. There's your winner, 410,000.
$400,000.
easy. She won it by 4 lengths on the wire. Side by side and stride for stride. Who's it going to be? My Soldier Citizen Bull. Bear has it close to home from Brussels. Cybear's the Breeders' Cup winner.
And Skippy's got it won! It's an upset in Pegasus 10.
Along the inside, that is Temperance Hill coming on, and they're down the stretch. Temperance Hill on the outside. First Albert between those two, Amber Pass. Temperance Hill now takes the lead by a half length. On the outside, First Albert and Amber Pass. It's Temperance Hill in front.
John Ed Anthony's Temperance Hill, 1980 Arkansas Derby winner, Belmont Stakes winner, and Travers winner as well. That is not what you would call a hand ride, Richie Figliori.
No, Temperance Hill was a horse that needed constant encouragement. Eddie Maple won the Belmont Stakes on him as well as this Travers, and he had to ride him hard, but he kept finding, that's for sure.
Digging and digging, and those colors, synonymous with so many terrific runners that have had success here at Oaklawn Park and as well at the highest levels of the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. His barn named for him on the backstretch here, and brings back really good memories. That was the year I started riding when he won the Travers with Eddie. I was up in Saratoga galloping horses, and really cool to see that race over again.
Running up that hill, Temperance Hill, and his legacy will be honored with the first of the stakes races this afternoon on this Arkansas Derby. Saturday, the full rundown, Temperance Hill in moments, 1.5 miles. Distance, American Pharoah, a really good edition of the Oaklawn Mile, and then the Arkansas Derby on Fox Sports 1, post time around 7:48 Eastern. Field for the Temperance Hill, older runners, 12 furlongs, $200,000 purse. Welcome back, Parchment Party. Joke Star to his outside. Quality field of marathon runners as we check in with Maggie Wolfendale, starting with Parchment Party. Maggie, there's some globe-trotting. Good to see him back in the States.
That's right, after his foray down under in the Melbourne Cup. And I thought it was really cool that Pin Oak stud, the Bernhards, took that opportunity when qualifying for the Melbourne Cup in that Belmont Gold Cup to take the trip. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime holiday, at least for them, and race to run in. Didn't go quite as planned, but he's back on the surface that we know he prefers, Parchment Party, as he is coming back off of a layoff and making his 5-year-old bow here for trainer, Hall of Famer, of course, Bill Mott. Now, as I often talk about, horses, when they reach 5 is when they ultimately reach their full physical maturity, and that's what we're seeing here with Parchment Party. He's always been such a beautiful, long, classic-looking thoroughbred that more or less was a frame that still needed to, have that conditioning kind of hung upon it. And now he has. He's really filled out. So you always kind of question that slightly when it comes to fitness. Given how filled out he looks, is he fit enough coming back here, as they will add a pair of short cup cheater blinkers on him here today. And I don't think they're really trying to reinvent the wheel with him. They're just trying to keep him a little bit more engaged throughout the running of this 1.5 miles. Number 6 comes in for trainer Kevin Attard, and for a race that, yes, it looks like there were only 4 horses, but actually there were only 3 horses that competed in that race, because one of them dropped his rider at the start in that post-time stakes at Laurel Park. And when that loose horse was running through the field, his rider, Pietro Moran, decided to try to go up on the inside of the loose horse. That wasn't quite the right decision. He had to check back. So while he was vying for the lead early on, he had to check back to last, approaching the second turn. And then he circles his other 2 rivals and draws away. So essentially, this is a horse that more or less kind of ran 2 races within that 1 mile and an eighth. So indicating that 1.5 miles, probably capable of getting it, and he looks it too. I've always thought this horse, the longer the better when you look at him. He's so big, so long. He's incredibly fit here, and maybe that's the edge, Lafitte, that he has on Parchment Party. But of course, the horse on the rail, Forged Steel, he has the speed as his advantage.
The contenders, Maggie, in this 1.5 miles, Temperance Hill. Another look there at Joke Star. You're expecting a big performance from him today.
I am. You know, this is a horse that's run 6 times on the dirt with 4 wins. The rest of his career has either been on synthetic or turf. He's a horse that's already kind of accomplished at long distances. He was second in the valedictorian at Woodbine going 1.5 miles. And I just thought that he has a little more recency where Parchment Party made that long journey to Australia. And now coming off the layoff going 1.5 miles, even with Hall of Famer Bill Mott in his corner.
And Maggie indicating maybe that edge and fitness. Joke Star, you're looking at Parchment Party. That trip to Australia prior last summer, his last start stateside, Saratoga in the Birdstone, and then handling that 1.75 miles just fine.
Yeah, stamina is no issue. I mean, you know, unfortunately for him, the Melbourne Cup's run on turf because he's definitely a dirt horse, but he's a long-winded dirt horse and very kind of specialized distances here. You know, I don't know when stamina became less important in the American Thoroughbred, but I like horses that can stay. This horse is bred by Bobby Flake, too. Built a culinary empire. Also, one heck of a breeder.
That thrive at longer distances. Parchment Party, trained by Bill Mott. Mott on Parchment Party, how he's responded to the recent globe trotting in this campaign in his recent months.
Parchment Party went to Australia, and we had an opportunity to give him a try over there. We've always felt he's probably a little bit better on the dirt, and he had a couple wins up in New York on the dirt, and we're back at Oaklawn and going 1.5 miles. A good distance for him. I mean, he's a true stayer. I mean, he'll go 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles, 2 miles, whatever it is. Actually, 12 furlongs is probably a little short for him. Well, we did give it, when he got back from Australia, we did give him a little turnout time down here. We gave him an easy 30 days and started him back, you know, with turnout and doing some jogging and got him back into a regular routine. And we feel like we've got some very useful works in him, and we pinpointed this race, you know, a couple months ago.
12 furlongs, maybe a little short for him. You don't hear that often in thoroughbred racing. Parchment Party for Bill Mott. There he is. Let's meet the field for this Temperance Hill. Starting with Forget Steel, daylight winner at Tampa. Rod Ortiz takes a call.
And does have speed. I do think he'll be the horse everybody's going to have to catch, see if he wants the 1.5 miles.
Happy Strike, see if he likes the 1.5 miles. He's struggled in his 2 starts this year.
Well, the 1.5 miles is going to have to turn him around in a big way because he's just never run a race quite fast enough to be competitive here. Maybe the distance will be an equalizer.
That's the thing. Tracking error, the way he runs, kind of one-paced. Maybe he just keep grinding. Maybe he'll take to the added distance.
Well, any horse will go any distance if you give him enough time to do it.
Compton, what about the surface? 13 starts. This is his dirt debut.
Yeah, you know, and looking at him from a pedigree perspective, I'm not encouraged that dirt's going to make a big difference.
Too sharp, man. This 1.5 miles just too sharp for Parchment Party.
Yeah, a little short of his best. No, obviously the horse to beat, a horse that loves every bit of the distance.
So funny. You just don't hear it. Joke Star here at 5-2, the co-second choice.
And this is who I like. I just think he has, you know, the recency could maybe make a difference. He's already shown that he also has an affinity for those elongated distances.
The race Maggie was discussing, Joke Star, mid-February, the post time, and then having to navigate a loose horse early a little bit right here in front, turning for home, and winds up widening on the field.
Yeah, but you know, it just feels like this turned out to be a really good prep, despite the trouble that he had with the loose horse. And you know, it'd be like on the Parkway and a car was just, you know, going along without a driver. I mean,
little unsettling.
Yeah, unpredictable. You're never really quite sure where they're going to go. When you're young, you don't worry about that stuff. You ride very intrepidly. When you get a little older, you go, let me watch what this guy's going to do first.
How do you handle that when if you can't see a riderless horse, or if there is a riderless horse out, just because it's the unpredictability? How do you concentrate on what you're trying to do, knowing that potential danger is out there?
You really kind of want to see what the horse's propensity to do is. Some horses are going to look to go to the outside rail looking for a gap to go back to their barn. So you don't want to commit outside of them. You certainly don't want to commit inside of them too soon because there's an inner rail and they can run you down to the inner rail. Sometimes you're better off if you can get up alongside of them. You don't want to be in a position where they're slightly in front of you because then they can control your movements.
Hopefully no such issues in this upcoming Temperance Hill. That's Jokestar revving his engines. He breaks from the outside, Forged Steel from the inside, and that daylight win at Tampa Bay Downs, albeit at just a mile and 40.
Yeah, and that's kind of a hybrid distance. You don't see many mile and 40 yard races. Sometimes you'll see a mile and 70, a mile, but listen, this is a really nice effort, and he dominated this group. I don't think this gives us any indication that he'll stay a mile and a half, though.
The presence of Arad Ortiz, Forged Steel, but yeah, it's a test that he's never faced here, and at this distance for so many of these, and stamina. Can they thrive at that marathon distance as opposed to Parchment Party, who we know this is where he's done some of his very best work?
Well, I think this is where, pedigrees really come into play, Lafitte. Forged Steel is by Vekoma. He was a crackerjack miler, right? Won the Met Mile. Out of us, Tail of the Cat mare. Tail of the Cat won the King's Bishop, now the Allen Jerkins, sprinting. I don't see a mile and a half in this pedigree. I'm not questioning Sappy Joseph. I think he does amazing work. He's going to have to show me.
What is he showing you, Maggie?
Yeah, that pedigree is not convincing. And neither is he necessarily physically, Lafitte, because he, despite being gray, looks very much like a Vekoma in that, they're very kind of typey horses. They are very well developed behind the saddle. They're not that long-barreled, kind of angular hip type of horses. They're just very compact. But I have said that so many times in the past about these marathon distance horses, and they end up proving me wrong because of one thing. That one thing is speed. Because they get into a rhythm and they just continue on, and it just discourages all the other competition. So I do love this horse's disposition heading into this distance beyond anything he's tried before, in that he's very laid back, very focused and content out on the racetrack. When I, follow kind of my rules of thumb, when you look at horses physically, no, he does not look like Parchment Party or Jokestar on the outside. He's complete opposite of them physically, but I do respect the speed that he brings to the party, guys.
Forged Steel, Maggie. It's a misconception. It's an easy observation, or when you're looking at a race that this is this far, to assume that a closer, a horse who does his best running from off the pace, that they're going to be that much better the farther they run. And that's simply not the case.
No, that doesn't translate, especially at these longer distances like a mile and a half. It's a horse that has stamina, that stays. They're not going to accelerate. They're not going to quicken. Maggie makes a great point about Forged Steel, that speed. If he can get in a good rhythm, not go extremely fast, but not too slow either, because you don't want to let horses that have maybe more natural stamina into the race. They're going to out-gallop you, and that's what it becomes, a test of who can out-gallop who. With me, Pietro Moran is a rider that I think you really got to keep an eye on, right? He won the Sovereign Award for Champion Apprentice in Canada, the Eclipse Award for Champion Apprentice in North America. He already has won a King's Plate. I mean, that's the biggest race they run. It's their Kentucky Derby, right? So for a young rider, he's a kid you really want to keep an eye on.
Megan, we'll see if he can now win a Temperance Hill here at Oaklawn Park aboard Jokestar. We'll check in with Megan for another look at Parchment Party and Luis Saez.
Yeah, I saw him taking a little bit of a backward step. He balked a little bit as he's heading to the gate. Got a big crowd here at Oaklawn, and it's tough getting in here this morning, Lafitte.
This is the day crowd has been waiting for here at Oaklawn Park. 60,000 plus expected, and something we'll touch on as we get closer to the Arkansas Derby. Just a better dress rehearsal for these 3-year-olds. The experience today in front of this crowd, this energy, and what could be ahead 5 weeks at Churchill Downs.
This will be the 3rd largest crowd to attend a horse race this year, next to the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. So it truly is a dress rehearsal for the Kentucky Derby, to deal with the hoopla, the excitement, the intense crowd, the noise, everything that goes with it. And a good horse not only has to have physical ability, they have to have the mental capacity to handle all that.
And for the jockeys, riding on the undercard, perhaps a mount later in the Arkansas Derby, what are you looking for in the early stages of the afternoon? Here at Oaklawn, no turf racing, obviously, so we're watching dirt race after dirt race after dirt race and looking for any potential trends on the track throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, you know, there have been a few days here at this Oaklawn Park meeting where, you know, there was a distinct bias where, you know, speed was either good or clothes were good. This entire week, this track has been so fair, so honest. Horses are winning from anywhere. I don't think there's really any trend that I've identified yet.
That was a hat, brother. That was a hat.
I saw two guys walking around. They were about 6'5", 6'6", these guys, and they had jockey helmets on. I actually almost went and got my picture taken with them.
The crowd here, enthusiastic crowd. They know how to support the racing.
Starting them young.
And that's the thing. Introduce them as young as possible. Get them out to the racetrack. Learn a little bit about the sport. I know your grandkids already have big, you can tell, lovers of horses.
Yeah, just so attracted to the horses. I FaceTime with them all, you know, every day pretty much. And the first thing out of my grandson Nathan's mouth, he says, "Hi, Grandpa, see horse." If I'm not by a horse, he loses interest in me.
Now he has a torpedo and a bobblehead coming his way.
Yeah, had to bring two home. You don't want them fighting over it.
None of that. Don't need any of that. Temperance Hill. A lot of viewers watching. It's Arkansas Derby Day. Maybe they don't follow on a day-to-day basis. 1.5 miles here, 3 turns. The race is not over when they're passing the wire for the first time. As for the jockeys, what is the biggest difference riding these marathon, these longer distance races?
It's critical to get your horse to switch off. You don't want a horse that gets keen. They pull, they won't finish. They waste their energy. They don't use their energy in an efficient manner. And what happens sometimes, Lafitte, they come by the stands the first time with a big crowd. The crowd gets to cheering, even though they got 1 lap to go. And sometimes it'll set a horse off. You'll have a horse switched off, and they hear the crowd cheering, and they go, "Oh, it's time to go," and they lock on the bit. Hopefully you get your horse to just switch off and cooperate. You want a horse working against the rider in these situations.
Strategically, this Parchment Party, Luis Saez looking for a second win this afternoon. What are we looking for early on? Parchment Party, where should he be in order to maximize his potential today?
Well, I don't think you want to give him too much to do. You know, in Saratoga going the 1 3/4, that was actually a very fast pace for the distance, so he was a little bit further back. He middle moved that day, but his stamina continued on. I don't think he wants to be 3-4 lengths away or more. I don't think you want to be way back here.
You expect Forge Steel to find himself in the lead early on?
I think Forge Steel goes to the lead, and I think Joke Star is probably the horse that's laying second.
Happy Strike at the gate. Parchment Party. Odds on it post time for Hall of Famer Bill Mott. First of these stakes races, the Temperance Hill from Oaklawn Park, live on FS2. Here's Matt Dinneman.
We're going to start we're going to start on the backstretch, end at the 16th pole here. Still working with Happy Strike. Post position 2. Happy Strike goes in. 2 back, Tracking Error. And Joke Star. Tracking Error goes in. Joke Star outside post. We're ready to go. And we're off. In the Temperance Hill Stakes, Forge Steel from the inside broke alertly. He's going to take advantage, stride in front with Tracking Error in the second position. Happy Strike makes his way into third, and now Forge Steel clears off on the lead here. Opens up a length and 3/4 into the clubhouse turn for the first time. So it's Forge Steel leading the way from Tracking Error. Happy Strike to the inside on a snug hold here. He's a little bit keen, but he's running in third. Gap of 2, Joke Star, Parchment Party in the 5th spot, and that leaves Compton to trail the field. Past the quarter pole for the first time. Forge Steel, nice and easy here on the lead. Gets into the 2 path as he comes down the lane. Happy Strike finds a seam on the inside. Run on the tail of that front runner. Tracking Error 3 wide as they come down the stretch here. Then comes the 2 favorites. Parchment Party inside of Joke Star, and they're 5 clear of Compton, who will attempt to do his best running later. 1 lap to go now. Forge Steel, nice and easy, still on the lead, just coasting along here. They're all in a gallop. Forge Steel getting back over towards the rail. Leads a length from Tracking Error second. Joke Star Star Happy in third, taking that spot. Happy Strike down on the inside going into the turn. Parchment Party in the second last spot, racing alone now. He's just 4 lengths off the lead, though, and he's 4 ahead of Compton, who's the back marker around the clubhouse turn. Forge Steel, 51-3 for the half, so no speed at all in here, even for a mile and a half. Went 3/4 and 1:17-1. Forge Steel, everything his own way on the lead here. A length and a tail ahead. Tracking Error second. Happy Strike third. Jokestar biding his time, and there goes Parchment Party with an early move, and Jokestar's moving with him. So the 2 favorites coming after Forge Steel right now. Forge Steel's got company right away within a blink of an eye. Here's Jokestar, and here's Parchment Party. 3 wide. The 3 favorites line up down the backstretch run here. Tracking Error is giving way under pressure. Happy Strike still in the 4th position, and Compton in an all-out drive at the back. Into the turn they go. Forge Steel, narrow lead around the turn here. Jokestar shaken up, and Parchment Party, who's 3 wide, pumped upon hard, rounding the turn, still in range. Forge Steel rounding the turn in front of half length from Jokestar and Parchment Party. This race will end at the 16th pole. Coming to the top of this stretch, Forge Steel still on the lead here. Jokestar all in. Parchment Party 3 wide as they come off the turn. Forge Steel with a head in front. Parchment Party grinding away, and Jokestar between them. Forge Steel between horses. Jokestar, Parchment Party on the outside. Parchment Party to the lead. Jokestar's sticking around, but it's Parchment Party from Melbourne to Hot Springs. Parchment Party wins the Temperance Hill. Jokestar second, Forge Steel third, Tracking Error fourth.
Melbourne to Hot Springs indeed. And to the Temperance Hill winner's circle, Parchment Party. Luis Saez, this 1.5 mile race, it felt like he rode him for about a mile, Richie.
Luis Saez is one of the fittest riders out there because he had to ride this horse pretty much for a mile. I mean, just was on him, riding, got him out in the clear once they got to the backstretch the second time. Jokestar, good trip, second best. And Irad Ortiz nearly stole it with Forge Steel. He got to go the first quarter in 26 seconds. It's a glacial pace. Very logical result here. And what a job by Hall of Famer Bill Mott to have this horse ready off of, since November to win going 1.5 miles. That's
not too sharp after all, the 1.5 miles.
Some job by Bill Mott.
You see some what felt like premature moves going up the backstretch. What was going through your mind as things unfolded before you would think the real running's going to start in this race at this distance?
Yeah, I actually thought Parchment Party might have got started a little too soon, but again, stamina, horse that can stay. He's not going to quicken for you. This was just a really nice effort, and if Bill Mott wasn't in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure this would help his resume to get in the Hall of Fame.
Been there for a long time. Youngest trainer ever inducted into the Hall of Fame, Bill Mott. Pin Oak Studs Parchment Party did at one point while Saez is encouraging, did it look like he wasn't going to be able to find his best? In your opinion?
That was the impression I was getting because Jokestar was going better of Parchment Party, as was Forge Steel. The only thing is Forge Steel, would he stay the 1.5 miles? You knew that Jokestar would. Parchment Party, I think that's the definition of a bicycle horse.
Pedaling, Luis Saez, Parchment Party in the Temperance Hill. Andy J.K. just getting started here with the stakes racing on the undercard of the Arkansas Derby and back in New York, nearing post time for the third.
From Washington to Aqueduct, Jonathan Kitchen, much like Parchment Party's trip. And he had much more time to acclimate himself. I mean, you rushed over from the airport. Well, race number 3 here was the only race that was completely shredded by scratches, with 4 of the 8 coming out, including the likely heavy favorite Proprietary Trade. And it changes things. And, the problem for everybody else, the 4 and 7, the horse that you and I both picked, the 2 favorites, it just seems like they have such a tactical advantage over this field. They may be the best 2 horses anyway, and they have a huge tactical advantage.
It's a fun little head-to-head for us here.
Should we bet a few thousand on it?
I landed on the 7 simply because I felt like the last time broke a little bit slow. The pace was fast. Probably got a little bit. We talked about chasing. Maybe a little chasey that time. As a horse who wants to be a little bit closer, I'm hoping that he'll break cleanly here in a small field.
It was also a big speed track that day on the wet track, and he was compromised by that. I took Carvelian Quest. Chris Griffin has the call.
And they're off. Spirit Dragon broke sharply, took a step outward, but is clear. It's Spirit Dragon easily clearing the field, is up by a length, and now immediately backs off of that early pressure. Here to the outside comes Carvelian Quest. Is going to try and push Spirit Dragon, who's got rail position now, is a neck in front. Carvelian Quest will stalk from second. Just behind them, that's Scoot Daddy in third. It's now a shared third as Sheriff Bianco has forward momentum, and they work up the backstretch here, 23.70 for that opening quarter mile. Spirit Dragon has the lead. Carvelian Quest right to the outside is attached to this leader, and these two are head and head well into the far turn now. Spirit Dragon now under a ride. Carvelian Quest just looming to the outside. Also moving outward was Scoot Daddy, now 3 wide, 4 wide. That's going to be Sheriff Bianco. Any one of the four has a shot as they're approaching a quarter mile left to go. At the rail, Spirit Dragon still with a nose advantage. Carvelian Quest battles on. Scoot Daddy trying to push on by, and Sheriff Bianco down the center of the racetrack. Carvelian Quest has taken the lead. Here comes Scoot Daddy trying to catch in center of the racetrack. Grandstand side, Sheriff Bianco. It is now Sheriff Bianco and Carvelian Quest down to these two. Sheriff Bianco's trying to edge away. Sheriff Bianco will win it. Sheriff Bianco over Carvelian Quest, Scoot Daddy, and Spirit Dragon in 1 minute 18.47 seconds.
22 days ago, owner Jay Lieberman and trainer Rachel Sells picked up Sheriff Bianco in the drop down for $20,000, and they just picked up $44,000 in the winner's share of this race. They've already got their money back, and they've got more in the tank as Sheriff Bianco wears down Carvelian Quest in the third.
It's good math that you just did there, Andy, how to make a profit at the racetrack.
Got to get it done.
I didn't see this horse.
I just wondered if his best races were behind him. But I will say one thing about him. He's always been better shorter. And he ran a lot of mile races. He won last time. He's better than those horses. Maybe the cutback really helped him in here.
Yeah. No, I mean...
It's my third choice. I just want to say in the Forest Field, I had him third.
There you go.
Did not pick him last. That was the one I picked last. Wait, how bad was the 7?
Yeah, he was
Spirit Dragon.
Yeah,
wow.
and kind of got the trip I wanted him to get to. I think a lot of times when you look at a race and you design the race in which a horse gets the trip you thought they were going to get, and they run bad, it really takes a dent into your opinion.
But I tell you what, it makes it easier to lose when your opinion is just bad. It's always frustrating if you feel like you might have bet the right horse. Quite often we don't. The number 3 gets it done. Sheriff Bianco, Christopher Elliott riding for Rachel Sells as we head back to Hot Springs and Lafitte.
Where Parchment Party entered the winner's circle moments ago after that victory in the Temperance Hill. Just kept grinding. Luis Saez just kept riding.
Bill Mott said he thought a mile and a half might be a little short for him. It took him the entire mile and a half to get up.
Results in Parchment Party, Pin Oak Stud, $4, $260, $220 over Joke Star and Forge Stealer. Parchment Party in the Temperance Hill to Maggie in the winner's circle.
And I'm so pleased to be joined here by Dana Bernhard of Pin Oak Stud. And Dana, to get our marathon champ back to the races here in Parchment Party and back into the winner's circle had to be so rewarding.
We are very proud of Parchment Party. He's a sweetheart. He is going strong, obviously, and had a great day.
He's so handsome, too. Now, as they were going around the turn, we saw Luis Saez kind of asking and asking. Were you confident getting to the wire?
I was always confident of Parchment Party. The only problem with me is that he didn't start out last. That's how he usually wins.
Well, spoken like a true owner, always confident in your horse. Well, it looks as though you might be heading to the Kentucky Derby this year with Incredible as well. It has to be exciting.
He is qualified. We're very excited. So Riley's keeping him in good shape. So we're looking forward to May 2nd.
Well, it was so nice to see you here along with Parchment Party, and congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Dana Bernhard here with Parchment Party and a horse that truly continues to dominate these marathon dirt races, Lafitte.
The farther, the better. That was just cool to see him take part in the Melbourne Cup and how game to make that trip. It didn't work out, but who cares? In the just the experience in itself for everybody associated with Parchment Party.
Just an amazing experience to take part in such a historic race. like the Melbourne Cup, and probably the wrong surface for him. Certainly the right kind of distance, though. Years ago in New York, they used to run the display handicap going 2.25 miles. I think Parchment Party would own that race.
Parchment Party delivers in the Temperance Hill, first of these stakes races this Saturday afternoon. As we turn the page, look ahead to race number 5 here with about 17 minutes to go. Good race, 3-year-olds, just like in the Arkansas Derby, but these are sprinters. Allowance, field updated odds, swung is out. Richie Noble, Affair, odds on, high-profile connections, and Dubai World Cup winning trainer in his corner.
And just a really strong performance at the fairgrounds back in January. Steve Asmussen, what can you say? I mean, go over there and win the Dubai World Cup and beat Forever Young, the globe-trotting Forever Young. Magnitude, looking at kind of exciting to have him around this year.
Be a very productive, lucrative afternoon, maybe. Dubai World Cup, Arkansas Derby sweep. We'll find out as our coverage continues. And the boss joins us, Louis Sella, president of Oaklawn, on set when we come back. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2. Welcome back. Pristine conditions on this Saturday afternoon. Arkansas Derby Saturday from Oaklawn Park. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Now joined by the boss, Louis Sella, president of Oaklawn Park, joining us on set. Louis, thanks so much for taking the time. How are you?
Great. Thank you. Welcome back to Oaklawn, sunny Oaklawn. If you were here yesterday, you would have a different idea, but it's 80 degrees. We've got full fields. We've got big crowds, and it's a great day.
Oh, this worked out beautifully. These conditions for this kind of day, and yeah, the crowds you mentioned. Could you describe the level of pride when you show up at the racetrack and you see this kind of crowd for your marquee day of racing?
Well, it's first off, it makes us really proud. And when you hear a lot of the dysfunction going on in our industry in various pockets, there's a couple of places that are doing just fine. Oaklawn's one of them. We'll have 60,000 plus people. We're pushing 70 maybe. We'll know in a couple of hours. It's a great day. We've got family. coming out. We have kids playing out over here. And they're enjoying the day of racing. And that's what it's about, enjoying racing, because it's just such a great sport. And we push it as hard as we can, and our fans are the best fans in racing, and they respond.
It's the focus on the marquee event today, the Arkansas Derby, but just some reflection on the first few months of this meet that started back in December, the first ever holiday meet here at Oaklawn Park.
Well, we have a great relationship with our horsemen and a great relationship with our racing commission, and we're all in the same room at the same table, no agendas. And so the horsemen came to us and asked for a 4-day meet with a holiday meet and a break. So we tried that this year, this season. And what we're seeing is that we're having some negativity with the horse size, the field size. And the horsemen actually came to us and said, "Hey, let's go back to the old schedule." We haven't announced that yet. We're going to announce it. You can break it today.
I think we just did.
I think you did, but we're going to go back to the old schedule because it's good. It's good for everyone, and everyone around the table agrees together.
So was it really that easy to come to that conclusion? Okay, we didn't like it, we're going to make this adjustment. There wasn't any negotiating in the process to come up with a conclusion?
No, the numbers are numbers, and in our industry you've got to have handle, you got to have field size, you got to have a fun environment for people to show up. The horsemen know that, just like management, and the commission knows that. And our commission, unlike others, they say, look, if the horsemen and management agree, they're going to agree. So we hash it out ourselves, and that's exactly what we do. We sit around the table and discuss the pros and cons and come up with a solution.
The horsemen also thrilled about the fact that you have the purse structure here at Oaklawn Park, and also some expansion and innovations. For example, like the brand new receiving barn this year at Oaklawn.
We're very excited about that, and when you're 120 plus years old, you're always changing and renovating and trying new things, and a couple of barns have been torn down and had to be replaced, and it made so much sense to come up with a proper receiving barn. We have so many horses shipping in. For instance, we have over 700 horses every single day working. So many of those horses have to come in off the farms, and they have to have a place to go. And of course, when we have days like today, horses from Florida and California and elsewhere they have to come in. And so it's a really beautiful barn, new barn, that's really made for today's kind of racing.
Did you happen to hear that the reigning horse of the year might be shipping in?
I
Before
did.
long, did you read that?
I read it, I heard it, I dreamt about it, and so hopefully it'll come true.
Sovereignty, last year's Derby winner, Belmont winner, Travers winner, aforementioned horse of the year, headed for the Oaklawn Handicap. Talk about a hot ticket.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's why we put on the show. That's why our 700 folks that work for us behind the scenes on the racing side. We have another 700 seasonal folks behind the scenes that clean the floors up. They're the unsung heroes, all the grooms, all the folks on the backside. That's what it's about. That's what puts the smile on our face.
Truly is a team sport, much more than most understand the sport of thoroughbred racing. Before I let you go, I got to ask, 90th running in the Arkansas Derby, who winds up in the winner's circle?
I am, because I'm giving the trophy away.
I had to ask. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks.
As always, Liz,
welcome back.
A great rest of your Arkansas Derby Saturday.
Great.
Liz Sella joining us on set here at Oaklawn Park as our coverage continues on this Arkansas Derby Saturday. Much more here in Hot Springs. You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS2.
City of Light, multiple Grade 1 winner, who posted 7 triple-digit buyers, stands to continue the legacy of his sire, Quality Road, with graded stakes winners, Menti, Chop Chop, and Formidable Man, sire of multiple Grade 1 winner and champion 2-year-old Fierceness.
A powerhouse win.
City of Light, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End Farm.
The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
Say hi to our new stallion, Highland Falls. From his winning debut to that spectacular Jockey Club Gold Cup.
It is Highland Falls. He wins another one, this time the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Even his buyer was high. The race his sire made his own by a widening 4 lengths. A host of Grade 1 winners far behind. High and Goodbye. Running a 107 when second in an All-Star Whitney. The rise and rise of Highland Falls. High class, on the track and on the page. This is his dam, winning the Acorn and then the Distaff. Aim high. Breed to a well-bred son of Curlin. Highland Falls, new to Darley.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back at Oaklawn Park, look at that shot. Stunning Saturday afternoon as the racing continues. Horses, as you can see, on track for the 5th. Good sprint for 3-year-olds. Allowance and an odds-on favorite, Noble Affair, trained by Steve Asmussen, won the Dubai World Cup earlier today. You'll hear from him in just a moment after we meet the field as I'm rejoined by Richie Migliori. It's great to have Lewis on Arkansas Derby Day.
Absolutely. They do such a great job here. They put on such a great product and customer service. You want to treat your fans right, and they certainly do that here at Oaklawn.
Those purses we were talking about, this one worth $125,000. You saw Rooster J, 270, then Special Ops.
Special Ops, versatile. It's going to have to step up a little bit, but his last race was his best yet.
Swung is out. The 5, Violence in Red at 6-1.
Yeah, speed from the Asmussen barn as well. Kind of complements Noble Affair a little bit.
McFasty just graduated early February. Then Noble Affair, the expensive colt, $600,000 Vacoma 3-year-old.
Yeah, he has natural speed, but he's drawn towards the outside. That could give Irad Ortiz Jr. some options.
Can't heat on the outside.
Another horse that can lay up close. Going to have to kind of improve a little bit on that Beyer speed figure scale, but they're young horses. They change, they develop, they evolve, if you will, the feet.
The runners in the 5th, these 3-year-olds, Violence in Red and Noble Affair, trained by Steve Asmussen, standing by live with Megan.
Well, we'll get to these talented 3-year-olds in a moment, but the man of the hour, the team of the hour, Team Asmussen, clinching the Dubai World Cup earlier today, magnitude triumphant. Just what goes through your mind in moments like these?
What a magical experience, for Magnitude. Ron Winchell, David Fisk, Scott Blasi, Carlos, the whole team, just to win a race as significant as the Dubai World Cup, over forever young. What a great moment, and will be special forever.
Well, you put him in a column now with some of the greats. We've mentioned comparing him to the likes of Gun Runner, and now it seems that's solidified after that kind of performance in Dubai.
Well, obviously he's a very exciting horse, extremely talented. Obviously today is his biggest win to date, but obviously we're very excited about his future.
Where our feet lands with some talented 3-year-olds on the outside, the 7 Noble Affair, very fast last time out. How's he been doing?
A very fast horse, grabbed a quarter in his last race, missed a possible engagement in the Gotham. Feel that he's doing extremely well. Has worked very sharp recently, and a great spot to get him back to the races on a beautiful day here at Oaklawn.
Congratulations. What an incredible day so far.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Feet.
And it's not done yet for Steve Asmussen, represented later on. Arkansas Derby, the 2 3-year-olds here. Noble Affair, 3-5. He referenced him grabbing a quarter. What does that mean?
Yes, sometimes when a horse overreaches with a hind leg, they'll step on the corner of their coronet band or their ankle right above the hoof and kind of take some of the hoof off or some of the skin off there. It's more painful without being like any kind of a catastrophic injury. You've got to let the hoof grow out a little bit more. And the fact that he won despite grabbing his quarter last time kind of says a lot about this horse.
Broke sharp in his second start, made the lead. Late January Fairgrounds, Noble Affair here running him off their feet and graduating in his second career start.
And just the fact that Steve said, that he missed an engagement in the Gotham kind of gives you an idea, an indication of what they think of this horse. Now, this is a horse that kind of stepped on himself leaving the starting gate. And look how determined he is.
Like the fight.
Will not let himself be passed. And you got to appreciate and admire that, particularly because I'm sure he came back, a little bit bloodied from that experience.
Rod Ortiz to ride. Noble Affair. Odds on 3-5. Right back to Maiden with more on an outsider, a long shot, Canned Heat, who does have the edge and experience over most of these, Megan.
Well, it's nice to glean some of that information direct from the source. Trainer Steve Asmussen had mentioned a little bit of a setback for him, but obviously showed tremendous talent last time out at the fairgrounds. And when trying to gauge between these two horses, he just was flat out faster and kind of towers above this group. But I loved what I saw from him physically in the paddock as he was so well collected. Getting to Oaklawn for the very first time, a very flashy son of Vacoma. He just looks fast, as one would say, with just an engine behind him, really strong through his hindquarters, but also in his shoulder. He's just absolutely gorgeous. And a $600,000 two-year-old in training purchase last year. I didn't have any issues with him. I think he's the horse to beat and ticking all of the boxes for me physically as well. But the number 3, Special Ops for Rob Atras, is coming off of an auction-restricted performance, a son of Independence Hall. And I will say this, he was a bit leggier. Perhaps maybe the distance could be something he wants, but he's tried it in the past. But he is, to me, looks quick enough and looks like he'll be equipped for this distance. Now, the Independence Halls have really been coming on. They didn't get off to the strongest of performances as 2-year-olds. They've taken a little bit of more time, and it seems as with this individual as well, he's really progressed here, as I think he's taken a step forward from the last time I saw him back here on February the 21st. And you're fetching a fair price on a horse that was an 8-length winner last time out, albeit he'll likely have to get faster to meet the likes of Noble Affair. But the other Steve Asmussen trainee, the number 5, Violence in Red, is the picturesque of a flashy racehorse. He is just shining like a copper penny, a gorgeous son of Violence who's sharp and on his toes. And last time out, it seems he just got the absolute perfect trip and what kind of seemed a bit of a below average group. Very uncomplicated, popped out of the gate with that good speed and just set much slower furlong splits than when you go look back at his stablemate Noble Affair. But absolutely gorgeous physically, had no issues. We'll see if it's going to be a duel late with the Asmussen brothers, or excuse me, with Keith Asmussen and Irad Ortiz Jr., who lands on the number 7 Noble Affair. But what a day, Lafitte, for Team Asmussen.
Victory in Dubai. And here at Oaklawn Park, just getting started. The 2 3-year-olds here, Noble Affair, Richie, and Violence in Red. What do you make of his chances to upset his stablemate?
Yeah, the thing you got to remember about Steve Asmussen as a horse trainer is he develops horses. They improve. You think about Magnitude, and he was a good 3-year-old getting better towards the end of the year, and how he started out his 4-year-old campaign gangbusters. He did that with Gunrunner. He's done this consistently. So Violence in Red could take another step forward. I mean, he's a good-looking son of Violence. And I wonder, he's drawn inside of his stablemate, Noble Affair, if they choose to kind of rate Noble Affair just a little bit off of Violence in Red and a few others that could have speed here.
Yeah, who is the quickest? Who's in front when this field hits the far turn?
I mean, there's so much speed involved here. The one-horse Rooster J, ironically enough, ridden by Eric Asmussen for Danny Pish. He won the last race for him yesterday. 207, I think he might get out-footed, but he has some speed as well. Special Ops will be off the pace. Violence in Red is speed. I got a feeling Violence in Red or Rooster J are the most likely pace setters here.
270. What's it going to take for him to win this at 9-2 with Francisco Arrieta? The 4 wins yesterday for him in the stakes sweep from the Matron and the Fantasy.
Well, this is a horse that took a big step forward last time, but he's the only horse in this race that has already competed for claiming, McNasty as well, but he's had a consistent diet of claiming races. This is a step up in company here.
Sharp, though, trying to knock down a third straight, 270. Quality group of 3-year-olds sprinting 6 furlongs, odds on Noble Affair for Steve Asmussen. Matt Dinnerman with the call, race 5, Oaklawn Park on FS2.
Ready to go. And we're off. Even dispatch for all. Violence in Red close with his stablemate Noble Affair. Canned Heat on the far outside and 2.70's down on the inside. Violence in Red short lead on 2.70, a half length back. Noble Affair runs in the third position. Then comes Canned Heat on the outside here in the orange. Special Ops in midfield, a length in front of the two at the back. McFasty, Rooster J, as they head down the backstretch past the half mile. Just 3 lengths from first to last. A compact group hits the far turn. Violence in Red and 2.70 side by side with Noble Affair making it a party of 3. He's turning up the pressure. 3 wide the favorite. Violence in Red, neck in front once again. Noble Affair right there to match him. The 2 Steve Asmussen entrants on the lead together with Canned Heat, who's shaken up from third. 2.70 has retreated to fourth, coming to the top of the lane, and Special Ops is right behind the leaders as they come off the turn. Noble Affair with the lead here. 2.70 coming right back from the inside, finds a seam. Noble Affair with a furlong to go, has got a narrow edge. 2.70 right up alongside. Noble Affair, 2.70 head and head. Special Ops trying to pick him up on the outside. 16th to go. Noble Affair, 2.70 not going away. Special Ops is lunging. Driving finish, 2.70. 2.70 got it on the inside over Noble Affair. Special Ops and Canned Heat in a driving finish.
Thrilling finish. A 2.70 would not be denied. Ambushed by Noble Affair, who took a shot, who took one run after the next after him, and 2.70 just kept digging, and finding more.
And now his third win in a row, stepping up to this allowance company. He looked like around the turn he was going to get swallowed, and Francesco Arietta was able to kind of send him through, and he keeps battling. He's on the wrong lead. You can see the difference. He's leading with his left foreleg as opposed to his right foreleg, which your favorite was doing properly, Noble Affair, but he kept finding maybe he's just a southpaw, and he wanted to run on his left lead, but what a game performance.
Steve Asmussen saddled the winner of a $12 million race earlier today. We get it, he won the Dubai World Cup, but this one a little bit more frustrating than just the defeat. But who defeated Noble Affair in the end?
Well, this is a horse, 2.70, that was claimed from Steve 2 back. And knowing Steve and how competitive he is, he's not thinking about the Dubai World Cup right now. He's thinking about, that horse that got claimed from me just beat me. But you know what? It was a good effort from Noble Affair. And he talked about him grabbing his quarter. He probably missed a little bit of training. He'll probably be better for that race under his belt.
2.738 here at Oaklawn. I'll be stepping aside. Our coverage continues as we send things back to New York. Andy, and get ready for the Pick 6 out of the Big A.
Thanks, Lafitte. Appreciate that as we come back here to the Big A and carry over just $50 shy of $14,000. I thought this fourth race is a much more interesting race in the card. And pace obviously is a factor, though I'm not sure how good the speed horses are. The one Penn Street is 1 or 2 for Linda Rice with Kendrick.
Yeah, the pace wasn't particularly fast last time for this horse, and he was close enough to it. I would take that as a negative. Excuse me.
She talks too much. She's a she, so she's not named after me.
Could be, though. You never
could be.
This is wide last time. Gets a dry track for the first time.
Pistol Liza blazing as a player went by. The favorite is Sweet Laura. Can she bring that form here for Jamie Ness?
I thought she ran really well last time. Got a fast figure, but can't she duplicate it up here?
Bourbon Serengeti looks like the speed for Manny Franco, but is she good enough?
She hasn't always broken that well either, which is interesting for a horse who has speed.
10-1 on Rachel's Rock for Jorge Abreu.
Second time for Jorge Abreu. Sometimes the second time for a trainer, they get it all figured out.
Manny Franco rides Minnesota Money, the one taking more money for Linda Rice. Jose Lozcano, excuse me.
Was wide last time, closing into a slow pace.
And Raylu rides She's Cooled around the field for Chris Englehart.
Yeah, probably needs to get a touch faster. This group seems like they could probably run a little bit better than she has so far.
Yeah, let's get back to the favorite in this race, or co-favorite, Sweet Laura. It's that eternal question. I'll tell you something else, and I don't know if we're going to show her last race from Colonial. This is something that makes me crazy, Jonathan, or crazier. They list this track as good sealed. Look at this. If that's good sealed, I'm 7 feet tall.
Yeah, that's...
The PPs are sacred. Make the track the right destination. It was a sloppy track. And do you wonder a little bit with this horse's recent form, has the wet track had something to do with it? That's the only thing I'm bringing up.
The last two, I mean, well, see, here's the tricky part, and I know you'll agree with this. It's hard to identify because the two sloppy racetracks also coincided with the trainer change. So is it Jamie Ness or is it the racetrack?
And can she bring that form from out of town here? Because that's always the question. I took Penn Street. I'm beginning to think I got the wrong Linda Rice horse because the other one's 2-1. Now, neither one of these horses has much speed, and that concerns me. But I feel like Penn Street is coming off an outside trip, as, to be fair, is the 7 out of the same race where she finished a little ahead of this one. But I like this one because at least she was a little more forward in that race.
Yeah, I mean, I think that trying to identify a pace type in here is going to go a long way.
Well, that's why you like the 5, obviously.
Yeah, I just a horse who can find the front but doesn't always break well, to me, if you can get that resolved, then the speed is there. The natural speed is there to kind of get this one in the mix. And I just don't trust the Jamie Ness horse.
I agree.
Here. There's not enough of a body of work for me to believe that that's going to be duplicated, and the price is not good enough for me to pay to find out.
And doesn't Bourbon Serengeti feel like the kind of horse that you're going to really kick yourself if she wins and you didn't bet a few dollars on her, because she appears to be the speed in a relatively paceless race, and even though she's not necessarily quite good enough, she's close enough that potentially is the lone speed. 7-1's a juicy price.
And I'm not sure there's a rider I would prefer in this situation of a horse that I want to pop away from there, be a little bit aggressive, get his position forward, than Manny Franco.
I agree with you. I mean, one thing with Manny, when Manny's riding a horse that's supposed to be forward, unless there's an incident at the gate, Manny will be forward. He does not rate speed horses.
His growth as a rider, to me, in the last 5 years is probably, he's probably made a bigger jump than anyone else I can think of in a 5-year span.
I agree, and I think in switching his agents to John Panagot, particularly because of John's relationship with Chad Brown, getting him on Chad Brown's horses. Now, as you know, because you know Chad as well, he might do John a favor and ride Manny, but if Manny didn't ride well, he would get very little rope, and he would be off.
Yep.
And so in getting those opportunities, Manny has made the most of them, and he's earned Chad Brown's respect, and he's got a lot of confidence in him. He rides a lot of horses for him, and I think it's really helped Manny as well. He's ridden better horses, and when you get the confidence from John and from Chad, I think it's made Manny realize, and I don't think Manny ever should have not thought of himself as a top rider, but sometimes people need that confidence boost, and I think it shows with Manny, and I agree. I think he's ridden. I've always thought he was a good rider, but I think he's in a different level right now.
I think he's outstanding. And so the reason that I mentioned that is I think that him on this horse fits really well for what I'm hoping is going to happen, or hope that could happen, at 7-1.
No, I see the argument. I picked this horse third. I wasn't sure if she was good enough. I'll be honest, I had a lot of trouble with this race. I ultimately went to Penn Street. I'm worried a little bit that I don't think she can be that forward in this spot. I ultimately went to her, but I thought this was an extremely competitive race. And I think that's the case on a number of races today. I thought the 5th race was another one that was competitive. Who is the horse you would lean on the most in this sequence if you've gotten that far?
Oh, boy. It's a tough.
It's hard,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of open races in this sequence.
Gosh.
I put you on the spot, and I don't have an answer to a question I asked you.
There you go.
So I'll let you off the hook. They're heading into the gate. Chris Griffin has the call of the 4th, kicking off the pick 6 with a carryover of just under 14,000.
Last to load. She's cool. It's the Sis City starter. Almost in there. Pistol is ablazing. She's cool. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Good speed from in between horses. Bourbon Serengeti right to the front with a quick neck advantage. Host of pursuers towards the outside. Rachel's Rock now joins and passes that leader to assert, and Rachel's Rock is ahead in front. Back to second is going to be Minnesota Money, and at third, that's going to be Bourbon Serengeti. She's cool as in 4th, is patiently ridden, center of the racetrack as they easily come out of the chute and hook up with the backstretch, and a free running Rachel's Rock and Jamie Rodriguez, and now she's pumped up and wants to go. She's pulling here. Jamie Rodriguez is sprinting away a little bit. It's Rachel's Rock who's up by 3.5. Right there is Minnesota Money in second. Content with that spot in Bourbon Serengeti at the rail in third. She's cools in fourth, and here's Sweet Laura on the move for Michael Sanchez from fifth. Trying to pass rivals towards the outside and starts to build that momentum center of the racetrack as four of them chase this leader, Rachel's Rock. Less than 4 furlongs to go. Further back in the field, She Talks Too Much and an all-in Pistol is ablazing, and nothing from Penn Street yet, who's almost 15 off the lead. Down towards the inside, Rachel's Rock has now been passed by Minnesota Money, who puts ahead in front. 3 wide is going to be Sweet Laura, who's been on the move, has a sustained rally going, and Sweet Laura now puts a neck in front. Sweet Laura with a quarter mile left to go, looking to sprint away from the field, and Sweet Laura starts to open up. Rachel's Rock is battling on, down towards the inside, still chasing his Minnesota Money. Center of the racetrack, Pistol is ablazing, starts to launch a late rally too. Inside this final furlong, Sweet Laura has a 16th left, is well clear, and Sweet Laura will win this one easily. It's all Sweet Laura to win it. Second went to Minnesota Money, then Pistol is ablazing, and there's a photo between the oncoming Bourbon Serengeti with Rachel's Rock in 1 minute 37.81 seconds.
Well, no longer any question of whether or not Sweet Laura could bring that form out of town onto a fast track, because she absolutely crushed this field.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say that the trainer change is what has helped her improve over the last 2 starts, not the racetrack.
I agree. She just buried this field. I think that Minnesota Money actually ran fairly well. But this horse, I mean, this race is about 1 1/3 seconds slower than the horses in the second race. And those are horses that, that winner might have run like a 90 buyer or so. This horse ran. This was a very good race, and this horse just absolutely annihilated the field, made 8-5 look like an overlay. And we talk about Manning. I think Manning make a lead in Bourbon Serengeti because Rachel's Rock was so insistent on going to the lead. That was a pretty honest pace, and Manning didn't need to go on some sort of mission. And once she couldn't make the lead, she wasn't going to be able to win here.
And I'm not sure if she would have made the lead the way she ran, that she was going to run much better than she did.
And my horse was eased. But Sweet Laura was much the best here, getting the job done. Michael Sanchez coming to town to ride for Jamie Ness, getting it done to kick off the pick 6. The favorite starts out the sequence. I still think it is a tricky sequence going forward, but good luck if you're alive, or if you play the pick 5 going forward. We'll take a break. I'm guessing we'll be back, and we'll be actually back here in just a few moments. I don't know if that's where you and I live, Jonathan, but looks a little bit similar. I'm not quite sure what part of the city that is, but a nice view of some... Oh, that's the Oculus. I'm looking at the wrong shot. The Oculus is downtown. You've been down there, right?
Yeah, not as much as you. Not as much as you when you worked there. But.
Well, yeah, I almost never head downtown anymore, but of course that's right by the side of the World Trade Center, actually, down in Lower Manhattan. Beautiful day here. A little chilly, though, but a beautiful day here as we head to the winner's circle for race number 4. Sweet Laura, decisive win for trainer Jamie Ness and rider Michael Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, horses like this, I just need a little bit more to grasp onto, to lean on a horse like this. She felt like on paper she was the best horse in here, but I didn't trust that those performances were going to be duplicated here in New York.
I picked her second, and these are the kind of horses I almost always pick second in these races because I just feel like I want to see it. And the truth is, they don't win all the time. They don't always bring that form here. But she did. She brought it here, and she dominated. She was the horse to beat on paper, and she ran to it. But that's not... If the game was that easy, we'd all be rich. But she got it done quite decisively at 8-5, and if you leaned on her in the pick 6, good luck going forward, as we still have plenty of action to go, 5 more races here, and obviously a lot of racing to come down in Arkansas. I don't know if you're going to even really discuss the Arkansas Derby on this show. Who do you like?
I'm going to go, of course I'm going to go, we were talking about the horse for an hour earlier. The Rapoli horse, which is
Renegade.
Renegade. Jesus. I'm a huge believer in the form of Renegade and Paladin together makes both of them very trustworthy. How they ran in the Remsen really well together. Then Renegade comes back and runs well at Tampa. Paladin runs well in Louisiana, and it gives me trust that those two horses are both really good.
If you're in the camp of Paladin should be the favorite for the Derby, if you agree with that, then how do you not like Renegade today? Now, I'm going to try to beat him, but he is supposed to be he is the favorite, he is the right favorite, and he is the worst to beat. He's good.
Yeah. No, I think today we learn a lot.
Yep.
We learn a lot as it pertains to the Kentucky Derby. We learn a lot in South Florida in the Florida Derby, and we are obviously going to learn a lot on how Renegade runs in the Arkansas Derby as well.
I will say, though, I think that it's possible. I think it's very likely the Derby favorite is going to be the horse that wins the Florida Derby today. Interested in seeing what happens in that race, and we'll bring you that race a little bit later on the broadcast on tape delay. Sweet Laura gets it done, $5.50 in the win end. Second choice, Minnesota Money, finishes second. A formful race with exacta that paid just over $10 for $1. We will take a break, and then you can get rid of us and head back to Hot Springs to the crew down there.
Gunrunner is the sire of 16 millionaires and 12 Grade 1 winners. Last year, he sired $17 million yearlings, including the Keeneland September sale topper. He was the sire of the $2.2 million Keeneland November weanling sale topper as well. Gunrunner was the co-leading sire of 2-year-old Grade 1 winners, including Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner Super Corridoro. Gunrunner, breed true.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets. Announcing the Empire Trillium Series, a multi-year $3.2 million 14-race program at the brand new Belmont Park and Woodbine Racetrack, restricted to New York or Canadian foaled horses. This new event kicks off the day after Christmas with 4 2-year-old stakes races on Belmont's new Tapeta surface and continues all spring and summer through late July at Woodbine. The Empire Trillium Series. To learn more and enroll either New York or Canadian breds, go to NYRA.com/EMPTRI.
A provision in a bill passed this summer reduces the tax deduction for wagering losses from 100% to 90%. This unfair change would tax horse players on a percentage of their losses, could cost over $1 billion in handle, and threaten thousands of jobs in the racing industry. That's why the NTRA is fighting to pass the Wager Act, a new bill that would restore the deduction to 100%. Tell Congress to pass the Wager Act. Visit ntra.com/wager.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on Arkansas Derby Saturday. A beautiful day here, a little bit on the cool side, but a big crowd and an exciting day of racing. 14 races. We're not quite halfway through the card. I'm Richard Migliori, joined by Megan Burgess, and great day for racing today. But we also had a big day yesterday, Fantasy Friday it was, and Counting Stars from the Mark Casse barn. She was dominant, but I want to take a look at the start. Keep your eye on the outside filly. She just, watch her kind of miss the break here and duck out. And you see that bobble there, sticker shock? I think that really cost her. She just never got in a good rhythm after that.
She really didn't. She didn't quite look as comfortable as she did in her very impressive allowance performance last time out. But I will say this about Counting Stars. She took such a huge step forward. And just looking at this performance, she ran a 92 buyer in this 5-length Tour de Force victory. Just to put that into perspective, she ran an 87 in a valiant defeat to Explora. And obviously Explora was scratched out of this race, Mig, but man, did she show us that, to me, has taken one of the most precipitous steps up of the division so far.
Yeah, and the fact that she put herself right in the game, she was always traveling like a winner, just carrying Francisco Arrieta, who had a terrific Friday with 4 wins, 2 stakes wins, obviously with Hall and Ice. But this was a tour de force, big, long stride on her. And I really thought that was a big effort from her. And Counting Stars, when she shows up in a big way. Maggie, I thought this was a really, really dominant and strong performance.
If anything, this was her coming out party, right, Mig? As Mark Casse and his team had always felt as though she was one of the best 3-year-old fillies, or 3-year-olds period, that they had in the barn, even going back to the 2-year-old season as well. Now, let's give a little bit of props, though, to Mark's other horse in the fantasy. That was Search Party, who looked to be in a good spot early on, but around the turn had the long shot leader kind of back up in her face, so she had to kind of check and move outside of her, and then came on again for second behind her very impressive stablemate. To my eye, looked even stronger Counting Stars coming into this fantasy than what she did with that runner-up effort in the Honeybee. And like you said, sticker shock, what a shocking disappointment she was. Have not heard any thing coming out of what her excuse may have been, but hopefully she can rebound, because I do think there's potential and promise there. But it feels like the now steadier Counting Stars is heading in to this year's Kentucky Oaks, Mig, with a head of steam.
I think that she has to be one of the top choices in that Kentucky Oaks. But Maggie, getting back to sticker shock briefly, she took that kind of awkward step out when she broke out, and almost looked like she might have stepped on herself a little bit. And when she got kind of righted, her ears were pinned so hard, I just wondered, did it feel like maybe she stung herself a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually, when I galloped out to try to catch up with Francisco Arrieta, took a very brief look at, her feet to see if maybe she cut into herself. There was nothing apparent or obvious in those brief moments I was looking, but I agree with you. It kind of really threw her off stride. And for a filly that's somewhat lightly raced, it really could have just messed her whole race up from the get-go. She never, felt comfortable throughout the entire running of the fantasy.
Yeah, just never gotten a good rhythm after that, but take nothing away from Counting Stars. That was a dominant performance, and I think she squarely thrust herself in as one of the favorites in the Kentucky Oaks. Got a nice-looking group of maidens here, Megan. Starting with the 1-horse, Pharaoh's Ghost. I really like this horse's work, Tab.
Second dam, the great informed decision, a multiple Grade 1 winning sprinter for Dallas Stewart here.
The 2-horse Super Happy. He's going to have to improve after breaking slowly first time.
Needed the debut, had to steady at the break when the horse 2 is outside steadied there.
3 is Scratch, Dawn at Normandy, taking money.
Yeah, for Sippy Contreras, coming off of back-to-back, pretty solid efforts, but did respond back into Maiden Special last time out.
The 5 Beloba, homebred for Black Ridge Stables, 2 runner-up finishes.
Yeah, pretty even and well beaten last time out.
Prime Power, kind of an unusual thing. Ran an allowance race, gets back to maidens today.
The dam is a half-sister to Champion Gamine, well-bred colt.
7-horse Tanchulo, been showing speed on turf. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. And we got America's Best Racing Race of the Week, the $1.5 million Arkansas Derby. And just so much importance, points on the line to get in the Kentucky Derby, kind of throwing your hat in the ring to see if you belong. And who do you think, Megan, out of this crew has the most to prove?
I believe it is a Blackout Time, as he was just showed that talent at two. To me, ran better than Litmus Test in their meeting there at Keeneland with a big effort. And Blackout Time was a horse that I do not believe was cranked up to 100% off of the bench. He had been scratched by the vets at the Breeders' Cup, and we didn't see him come back into training until January. So a horse that kind of got a later start back to work. And I find when communicating with Robbie Alvarado and the McPeak team, to me, he just looks more prepared for the task, better for his last performance in the Rebel. And Mig, it's tough. He was in chase mode into some pretty fast fractions last time out. And now I find that he has that experience under his belt. I find he's going to move forward for the Gazaways who have experienced what it's like to have that Kentucky Derby thrill. So I find that Blackout Time will take a step forward in today's Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, I keep going back to that race in the Breeders' Fraternity when he was second best to Ted Nafi, your undefeated 2-year-old champion, who unfortunately was off the Derby trail. Hopefully we see him later in the year. But Maggie, I'll pose the same question to you. Out of this group, who do you think has the most to prove? Well, we will get back to Maggie. You're having a little bit of technical difficulties. But, the other equation to this is Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez. They've already teamed up for a Derby winner through Arkansas in Mystic Dan. And he didn't win the Arkansas Derby. But, you want to show you belong. You obviously need points to get into the Derby. But I agree with you. I think he was just in need of that first race back. Now I think we got Maggie back. Maggie, who do you think has the most to prove here?
Take two, as it's kind of the obvious answer here, Mig. In the recent Maiden Breaker, and only a second start taking on Grade 1 company. That's number 8, Taptastic for the Asmussen barn. Now, he's a horse that had showed promise from the beginning. I was talking with regular pilot Eric Asmussen earlier today, and he said that this is a horse they had high hopes for, even as a 2-year-old. Now, it took them a while to get him to the races, but he took a lot of money being bet down to favoritism in that race, in which we just saw the second place finisher Don at Normandy come back and win. And 2, it was impressive because, as Meg had mentioned before the last race, it was a slow pace in which he was kind of stacked up behind it, and he had to wait for room turning for home. And Eric saw a seam on the rail, and he was more than happy to go through it. But Eric also said, while talent seems limitless, he's also a gray son of Tappet. And a lot of times it's what's between the ears that is their biggest hurdle to overcome. So he said, watch him in the paddock, watch him when he goes out to the infield and how he responds to the crowds, to the energy today. And that will give us a good indication of how he should run in this Arkansas Derby, Meg. But he is trying to do something that has never been done before, and that is win an Arkansas Derby in only his second start.
Certainly a tall order, Maggie, but we talk about dress rehearsals for the Kentucky Derby. This is a very appropriate dress rehearsal because we've got an enormous crowd here today, that kind of football. So this will give us more indication of how he handles things mentally. But didn't you have to be encouraged by how professional he was within the race and brave coming through inside of horses?
I totally agree with you. And I saw some video coverage of him schooling in the infield paddock here in this very cramped, loud, vivacious paddock that we have here at Oaklawn. And he handled it with aplomb. So I am encouraged by what we've seen from him previously heading into today, that he will make a good representation of himself, Meg.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with Maggie. Obviously, it's a tall order. We all understand that. I love the fact that he's out of a Curlin mare. Obviously, Steve did amazing work with Curlin as well.
Yeah, he did, and it's a lovely pedigree on the bottom side too. As the dam, she won the Grade 3 double dog dare, and he's a half to Tuscan Gold, who was on that Derby trail briefly for Chad Brown. Showed a lot of promise, but has had some trouble staying on the racetrack. So there's pedigree there, and obviously they would not be putting this horse in this race if they didn't think the talent was there with Taptastic.
I think Maggie and I are seeing the ball exactly the same way, Megan. And, Steve's already had a pretty good day winning a $12 million horse race on the other side of the world.
It's casual. Casual day for Team Asmussen, but I will say this. It's one of those sentiments where even if maybe he doesn't win today in this Arkansas Derby, and you mentioned the dress rehearsal, the Triple Crown is a 3-race series, so we could very well see him come back in those races like the Preakness or Belmont, and it seems as if though he is a big scopy son of Tappet, and I don't find the distances are going to bother him too much, Mig. He's one that I'd keep my eye on. Despite any of the outcomes that happens today, I believe he does have room to grow and improve.
We focus so much on the Derby. Obviously, the Triple Crown's so important, but there's a whole second half of the year, and the Travers down the line isn't a bad race to be competitive in as well. Well, horses are on the track for race 7. Had a bit of a delay I'm sorry. We're going to look at the Arkansas Derby field first. And unfortunately, we are going to be jumping off air soon, so we will not be showing that. But we'll be back for all of the great stakes action, including the Arkansas Derby a little bit later on. So let's take a look at that Arkansas Derby field from top to bottom, Megan, as we'll get into a video post-parade. Rebels Rebel from the inside as we've lost our feed here.
Yeah, Redland Rebels, Mig, is going to get a speed trip on the inside with Keith Asmussen aboard. I think this horse has a shot to make some noise if he's able to get that comfortable lead, as it might seem he will.
The 2-horse is Silent Tactic.
We both are just fans of this son of Tacitus, who's taken a progressive step forward. I will say this, we'll see if he's a bit more patient today in that run in the Arkansas Derby.
Okay, we up to Blackout Time, the horse that you like.
I do like this horse. I think he's going to take a step forward. Now, better for that run, as we mentioned, second off of the layoff since that Breeders' Futurity, his best race to date.
And on to the 4-horse. Bricklin comes out of a well-beaten third in the Sunland Derby.
Yeah, but Pavlovian did come back to run really well in that Louisiana Derby. Bricklin, to me, didn't get the best of trips that day. He's going to have to get a lot faster, but he looks to be tactically meant in this spot.
Horse that we talked a great deal about, the Taptastic race, son of Tappet.
I will say last time out, if you go through that field, most of those horses had been offered for a tag in that maiden group. So he's got a lot to prove, but you got to appreciate the way he did it.
The 6-horse, your favorite, Renegade, coming off a win in the Sam Davis at Tampa Bay.
I've stayed on this horse as my top selection in the Arkansas Derby, and I'm not wavering. And Maggie had made a really good point earlier on in the show about his growth and maturity from Saratoga mentally, and now to this point is he looks prime and ready to go.
The 7-horse Napoleon Solo was scratched, so we're on to the 8. Exosum feels like he's got to get faster.
He does, but he's gorgeous. He is such a good-looking son of Candy Ride, and while he has to get faster, this could be the time for him to do so.
And on the outside, the Bob Baffert trainee, the 9 Litmus Test, taking the blinkers off.
I really think this horse is going to run better than that well-beaten third when he was dueling on the front end of a quick pace in the Rebel, and I find the blinkers off is going to allow him to settle behind some of the speeds to his inside, a trip that's exactly how he won in his 2 career victories such far.
Well, that is the main course here at Oaklawn today, but we've got a couple of nice races on the undercard as well. We already had the Temperance Hill where we saw Parchment Party get it done going 1.5 miles, but the Oaklawn Mile I thought was a really intriguing addition as we'll go through the field here, starting with the 1, Will Take It, coming off a nice win for Dallas Stewart in the 5th season.
Dallas was high on this horse when he had run it last time out in the 5th season, but I just wonder, that was kind of a weaker group. He's going to have to get better for it, but I do appreciate the way he's been doing.
The 2-horse, Safi Joseph from Nikos. Oh, we're going to actually look at Full Serrano's Breeders' Cup here, mile that he won back in 2024.
He is a Breeders' Cup winner and a horse that is likely go favored in this spot, where he was able to track just off of some pretty zesty fractions there and gain the lead and never looked back. But I thought this was incredibly impressive. The likes of Grade 1 winner Domestic Product that day, the Venerable Post Time, and he ended up winning an allowance Group. He hasn't seen the winner's circle since that allowance score after the Breeders' Cup. So can John Sadler get him there? I will say, reports from the West Coast, he's been training incredibly well, Mig.
What kind of trip does he get, though? Does he make the lead here with the likes of, like, New What's New?
Right. New What's New flattered, of course, off of Magnitude, coming back to win the Dubai World Cup. And New What's New kept up with him, the best he really could manage back in that Razorback. I thought it was an incredibly impressive performance, albeit in defeat. But Mig, I think New What's New to me is kind of that now horse that's really getting good at the right time. And Full Serrano, though, as you mentioned, I think he could probably track off a horse like that. You think?
I would have to think so. New What's New just seems to have so much natural speed. And isn't he flattered by the fact that he was second best to Magnitude, who won the Dubai World Cup earlier today?
I mean, and he has been training like a box of gelignite here at Oaklawn Park. I was on deck, actually watched his latest freeze on March the 22nd, where it just seems as he hasn't slowed down. The Razorback was a very solid performance, as I mentioned, in defeat there, and he's doing incredibly well. All the credit to Full Serrano, because it's going to be a battle between these two horses who do have that speed. We'll see how their jockeys play it, and it's going to be a throwdown. This is a good race, Mick.
Well, unfortunately, we lost Cole Battle, but East Avenue, who defeated Cole Battle in the Matt win last June and hasn't been seen since August, coming off a layoff with a very strong work tab, he can also be forward.
He can. And I will say this about East Avenue. Sometimes I gauge him because in the past, he's been a strong workhorse, and sometimes that's not necessarily translated to the afternoon. I haven't been able to watch them visually, but man, does it look like his fairgrounds preparations, he's ready to go for Brendan Walsh.
I mean, what a depth of pedigree there from the mare Dance Music by Medaglia d'Oro. I think this is a tremendous edition of the Oaklawn Mile. Going to be fireworks as we get ready for the Arkansas Derby later today. We are going to be taking a bit of a break here, and we'll be back at 4:35 on FS2, Fox Sports 2. We're going to take a timeout. We missed race 7 because of that long inquiry. We didn't get to show it, but plenty more great racing action from beautiful Oaklawn Park coming up. Don't forget, 4:35. We'll be back with you on Fox Sports 2.
They come on for the finish in the Pilgrim Stakes. Annapolis by a head.
It is Annapolis in front. It is Annapolis to win the Coolmore Turf Mile.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Some horses are remembered, other horses are passed down like an heirloom. He's the kind of horse that lives in stories, each better than the one before, hardened like a diamond and equally brilliant. He ran 3 straight years at the highest level, and he himself was elite.
Putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure.
National Treasure would not be denied. National Treasure wins the Pegasus World Cup. In the blink of an eye has opened up a 5-length advantage. It's a 1-horse race. National Treasure.
There's a brilliance in the way he moved and a tenacity in how he finished. By quality road with a wealth of family, and he raced like he knew it. National Treasure the key to quality.